Some prisons in the South used to be literal slave plantations. In 1901, Mississippi purchased Parchman Farm to put incarcerated people to work, and it operated almost the same way a slave plantation would. Prisoners worked 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, picking cotton and plowing fields. They slept in long, single-story buildings called cages. The superintendent operated like a slave owner, and the white guards functioned like overseers. Parchman isn't the only plantation turned prison. There's also Angola in Louisiana, the largest maximum security prison in the U.S., and the Cummins Unit in Arkansas. So how was any of this legal? Because even though the 13th Amendment abolished slavery, it made an exception for people convicted of crimes. They could still be forced into manual labor. So the idea was, if you could get Black people in prison, you could put them back to work on plantations. So that's when the Black Codes were introduced, where Black people could get arrested for the most banal things, like being too close to a white person in public, hanging out after dark, or walking without a purpose. In some states, stealing a pig was punishable by up to 5 years in prison. This was as much about devising new ways to enforce a white racial hierarchy as it was about making money. You see, after the Civil War, the South's economy, which depended on slave labor, fell apart. But once Parchman was up and running, the state made about $5 million in today's dollars within 2 years, and it continued to be run like a slave plantation until the 1970s. That history of state violence continues to this day.
Water don't even run, man. Look at these walls. Look at all that mold and all these spots. Look at that window, man. You can't even get no air in the window, man.
Parchman has recorded dozens of deaths in the last few years and is plagued by dismal conditions and violence.
Put us in here, man. Look at the flow.
As for the Black Codes, they're still all around us, sitting in a coffee shop while Black, driving while Black, sleeping while Black. Those are all legacies of criminalizing Black people for slave labor.
Welcome to another episode of the Nick and CJ Show. I'm one of your hosts. I'm CJ. What's up, Nick?
What's popping, my friends, my family? We are back. We are back again. Welcome to the Nick and CJ Show. We got a great show for you today. The second hour at 4 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be joined by Men Press News journalist Dan Cohen. Love his work. We're going to talk about the situation in Haiti. Super important to discuss. Dan Cohen has done a lot of great work, including making a film about Haiti. And I know I've been familiar with Dan's work for a while. Like, the liberals melt down and they call him. They were, oh, look at this racist for calling out U.S. intervention in Haiti. That's the kind of shit they do. So he joined us today, and he's going to talk about the situation in Haiti right now, as well as U.S. trying to use the Haiti protests as a way to further have U.S. intervention in Haiti. And you know they have no good intentions. So,
like always, that sounds about right to me. Yeah, so I am a little tired, like I was talking to Nick off the screen, but I felt like a lot of these, some of the topics we're going to be covering today, we have to push back because the Bree interview dropped yesterday, or the Bad Faith interview dropped yesterday, so we just kind of pushed it back. But there's a lot of important topics to discuss. So let's kind of start. We're going to start with the Grayzone topic and the Wikipedia page being targeted. I think that'll be the story to start with. And then our main story, which is the thumbnail, Jamaal Bowman. I think we're going to try to hold that so it's closer to when the guest is here, because he'll have a lot to say on that topic. But before we do that, let's do a quick chat check, Nick. Let's see who's here. Please cover the protests in Haiti, and that's what we will be doing.
Our audience demands substance. We got you.
Yes, and that video, man, it's amazing. Videos like that, the intro video, Nick, that's the type of stuff you have to show kids, because there's otherwise they won't have an understanding or connection. And just think, if you grew up knowing that some prisons used to be plantations. And
Now
we're
you
essentially
have
doing
a
the same
bunch of
thing.
now you have a bunch of capitalists that they want to keep workers dumb. So now if you show a video like that in high school, you have Ron DeSantis and Marjorie Taylor Greene. They're like, oh my God, critical race theory. You're trying to get Timmy to hate his country. That's literally their argument. They say the liberals, they're trying to make the poor kids hate their country by telling the truth about it. Toughen up. So like
Net Press was live.
What? That's not real. Hold up.
What did it say? What is live?
I cut ahead of you. Sorry, I cut ahead of you. My bad.
Oh, go.
Said John Fetterman removed Black Lives Matter from his campaign website. Now we know Black Lives Matter is a liberal sham organization now, but that sends the message though, right? That's it. Because we covering this today. I'm glad you brought this up because John Fetterman during his debate once again didn't apologize, and there's this misconception that he's apologized over the event of him pulling a shotgun on a black jogger. That never happened. And I'm going to show you guys the receipts. John Fetterman at no point ever apologized for that. He justified it. And then they gave the guy God know what. So the guy who was a victim of it, they pulled him out. They're like, hey, yo, can you come on, man? Please set our apology, man. Please, bro. We'll hook you up, bro. Come on, man. And then he came on like, man, I'm good. I don't got any beef with John Fetterman. And I'm going to tell you guys why. Most black people, we just want to move on, bro.
Leave us alone.
They pull him up and they're like, "Come on, say you accept John Fetterman apology." They bring that dude up, and then John Fetterman like, "Oh man, I had a reason. I didn't know he was black. It was dark. You know, it was the sun got in my eye. You know, I was a young dumb kid. You know, all this, and not really my fault.
Young dumb kid."
And if you ask him, he forgives me, so I did nothing wrong. That is how he always responds to these questions. But the white left. The boutique left, they let him off. They always give John Fetterman a pass over this insane issue. We're gonna cover that later today. I'm gonna get into the receipts in that. But go ahead, CJ. I'll cut you off because is that true? That's crazy. But anyway, go ahead, CJ.
Wait, what do I have on screen? When you say is that true? I wasn't even looking at the screen. I was trying to get the
video. The one I read. I don't know. I don't know if you used the comment that we're
gonna see, earlier. But I think we're starting with the Wikipedia. So let me actually bring something up here. I'm going to start with the Wikipedia or the Grayzone's Wikipedia page. And I'm going, sorry, everybody. I'm going to share that now. Any other good comments you see, Nick?
Maybe I should.
You seem to. You seem to find better comments than me there.
I saw that one about John Fetterman because I think like RBN, we are like the only people critiquing John Fetterman. And I think maybe the combo council I think I may see them do a segment. But other than that, everyone is just because they're scared of Dr. Oz. And if you're someone that say, I don't want Dr. Oz to win, just say that. Stop pretending John Fetterman is something he's not.
Right.
Just say, I don't want Dr. Oz to win, and so I want John Fetterman to win. Just say that. Stop pretending John Fetterman is on the
John
left.
Fetterman is good or some sort of left. It's not serious. So yeah, let me toss up some more comments here because you know how when we get going, Nick, it's hard for us to get back to the comments. So I always like to throw a couple up. People like that are always the biggest snowflakes. I'm not sure what they are referring to. Savvy and you guys knew what was up. Oh, that's referring to the John Fetterman. That is actually absolutely right. It looks like a super chat came in. John is back for another stream today. Go ahead.
Yeah, big shout out, John. I saw your comment there. Thank you for 999, Christina. Caught your live show 3 days in a row. Thank you, comrade. I recognize the name Christina. I recognize you. Appreciate you joining the RBN community. What do you think about Katie Halper being fired at the Hill? That is because she was fired apparently for doing a segment defending Rashida Tlaib because she says Israel is an apartheid state. I think she's the only. Does Ilhan say? I don't. Maybe I should be careful. I'm fact check myself, but I think Ilhan.
There is two.
I think Ilhan said that too. I don't think many people are willing to. I only mean people like even Bernie Sanders said calling Israel an apartheid state is inflammatory, deflammatory. I mean, ugh, Jesus fucking Christ, Bernie. Literally, Amnesty International and multiple human rights organizations did probes into Israel, and they all found it to be an apartheid state. It is not. It's not radical to say Israel is a apartheid state. So a lot of people, including the Democratic Party, that people think you're going to take over, they all came out and condemned Rashida Tlaib, right? Then Katie Halper did a segment that wasn't only just about defending Rashida, but it was about justifying why it was an apartheid state. They released a segment on the Hill was like, nah, bro, we're not fucking what, nigga. After Nick was on here too, spitting, hell nah, we ain't showing that shit. Like, then Katie does a show with Aaron Mate. I listened to her call. I called in their call-in show once when we were talking about Saudi Arabia. So you have Aaron Mate, and she had a lot of other like Grayzone people around her. So she's sharp on like foreign policy at least. And she's like, bro, I'm not gonna be okay with you like censoring me on Israel. And she quit. And so props to her. And then she had her segment played on Breakthrough News. If you guys didn't know what was happening, I caught it because I always usually anyone who do an Israel segment, I usually peep it out. So that's why I know exactly what you're talking about. So that's the situation if you guys didn't know. But good for Katie for doing that segment. That's all I gotta say on that. But go ahead, CJ. We can get into the story.
Yeah, I like that. I like the segment that she ended up doing, and them firing her just proving they're donors, because the Israel donor is one of the most powerful donors. They have anti-BDS laws. You believe that? Enacted. Like, that's how powerful they are, and people are just afraid to say anything.
And the reason why they gotta do that, guys. One quick thing, CJ.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Because Katie Halper. And I apologize if I get this incorrect, but I think I remember her talking about it. She's not a practicing Jew, but she's Jewish, right? Mm-hmm. And she talked about even though she's not religious, she's still that's her like ethnicity. That's what she identifies as. And it's really scathing for the Zionists, and you see a lot more of this happening. I covered this. How I did a story maybe months ago on how young Jews are now renouncing Zionism, and now there are a lot of the Israeli army is having a hard time recruiting young Jewish people renouncing that ideology, and this is something that's been covered up in the mainstream media. And Katie is a ethnic Jew who's calling out the apartheid state of Israel. She makes the argument like, "Yo, I'm Jewish and I don't support this. There are a lot of people like us, and they can't have that. That's why they fired her ass."
And I actually have a personal story of young people fleeing. Before I was married, I dated an Israeli girl. She was from Israel, like born in Israel, but she was here. So I was dating her. The family, of course, didn't want her dating me, not necessarily because I was black, she said because I wasn't Jewish. So she wanted me to pretend like I was Ethiopian. That's how she wanted me to do, right? So it's like,
yo, she's
we're gonna tell her. Yeah, she was like, we're gonna tell them you're.
I love how her response was like, "Oh man, CJ, sorry, I don't have to. I gotta listen to my mom. We gotta break up." That wasn't her response. Her response was like, "Yo,
she was like,
bro, that's a down shit."
So she was like, "We gonna tell them you're Ethiopian," and I was like, "What is gonna happen when I can't speak it?" She was like, "Oh, we just say you're second generation or something like that, right?" But anyway, the moral to this story is they eventually sent her back to Israel to get her away from me and our relationship. Wow. Right.
So guys,
but listen to what happens. She goes to Israel and is immediately arrested for dodging the military. And so for me, this is my point of view. I have this girlfriend, and just one day she disappears. I can't find her, nothing like that. Crazy. I find out months later. When they let her out, because they don't keep you in prison like for years. You'll do time, and then you got to go. If you don't go, then you do some more time like that. She got out, and she finally was able, I can't remember, or maybe somebody in the prison had a phone. Was able to email me saying, "I'm currently in prison right now." And she told me the whole story. And I never heard back from I could never, and I just that's how that
so crazy, man.
Yeah, that's how this ended. So it's serious.
One last thing, I'm gonna get Roman here. Look up how Israel treated Ethiopian Jews. Just to see how they enable white supremacy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's how they're treated. But then ask this other question. When they took a DNA test, it turned out that the Ethiopians' DNA was more close to the descendants that they all say is related to Jews. Their bloodline and DNA was closer
See, I don't know that
than
much
the actual people who was trying to deny them entry, which was crazy.
What's good, Rome?
Was crazy. What's up, Rome?
What's poppin', y'all? I'm just out here trying to act like a human and shit.
What you doing, bro?
Shit, waiting on some pizza. I'm about to, I saw some homeless people. I said, fuck it, I'll stop and do a little
Let's
pizza.
go. See, that's kind of shit Rome always does. Let's go.
Yeah.
I had
The
to
ones
jump
I
on
gotta
him.
stop.
I saw Jamaal, bald head ass get called out. I'm like,
Oh yeah, we're gonna get to that soon.
Yeah. Let me just answer this question here. CJ, what did her parents have to say about? They owned a restaurant, they owned a restaurant, and I went there like trying to find her because I knew she lived there or worked there, and I don't know if her parents left with her or maybe they went with her over there, but it was people I didn't know. And it was just one of the most weirdest experiences. But that's when I found out that they got arrested if they didn't go to the military. This is before my leftist awakening. We're talking about, this is like Obama year. Is this? Yeah, this must have been Obama years. Was Obama elected in like 2005? No, huh? So this is Bush years then. So that's how far back this goes. But anyway, let's get to the topic. I don't want to derail the stream. So let's bring up the photograph for this segment to start with. Rome and Nick. Let me just read what the Wikipedia page says. The Grayzone is a far left news website and blog founded and edited by American journalist Max Blumenthal. The website, initially founded as the Grayzone Project, was affiliated with the Alternet before, I think that's like an alt-right group, Alternet, before becoming independent. No, not that one. It's going to be later on. Hold on. Sorry, I got mixed up. Before becoming independent in early 2018. The website's news content is generally considered to be fringe.
Yes. I thought Wikipedia is really filled with CIA and spooks at this point, guys.
And the thing is, Nick, if I wasn't in this community, I would not even know that. I would be going to Wikipedia not even knowing that CIA heavily edits, if not puts out the entire Wikipedia page.
I'm gonna see if I can find the tweet that Max had about this. But go ahead, CJ.
Yeah. I have it too.
Oh, you have it. Oh,
if you're talking about this one, I'll bring it up for you.
Oh, no, sorry. Go ahead, do your segment. I didn't want.
Yeah. So the website's news content is generally considered to be fringe. It is known for misleading reporting. It's known for misleading reporting and sympathetic coverage of authoritarian regimes.
Click that link. Click the link on misleading reporting. I'm just curious.
This is a picture. This is a picture. This is a picture from that tweet thread. This is yeah. See if you can find that. This is the tweet thread from Max Blumenthal's tweet thread. He just puts the picture.
But yeah, say that without giving an example. So I'm gonna actually want to see what example they give.
Misleading reporting.
Bro, they don't even give an example, bro. If you click that link, it literally watch. I'm gonna share my screen.
Put it up. Go ahead. Put it up.
Crazy. Like if you're gonna say that, like for example, what I would do, I say, yo, CNN is a fringe outlet. They have misled people about weapons of war, the war on terror, and the Ukraine proxy war by not explaining the 2014 Maidan coup. I'll give you guys many specific examples. That was literally just on top of my head. Like I could go, if I had time to write a paragraph, it would be literally 3 paragraphs. I'm like, this is why CNN is not legit. This example 1, example 2, example 50. This is what they do. This is what they put. When you click the link, it just goes to this tab that says misinformation. You guys see that? Look, no examples. It's been known for misleading reporting. Like what? I don't know. We just misinformation.
Can you blow it up a little bit, or make it bigger a little bit?
Yeah, I'll make it bigger.
Yeah,
I'm gonna click the citation.
Click
too.
the other one. Click the other ones. Yeah.
I'm gonna go with citation. How to abolish the Hong Kong. Bro, that citation has nothing to do with your claim. What the? Bro, their citation on saying that it's something about how to abolish the Hong Kong police. What are they talking about? What does that have to do with the gray zone? They expect people not to do this second guessing. Like, for example,
typing shit.
I had conversations with Max Blumenthal, Aaron Mate, so I know their intentions, right? So imagine if you don't know the gray zone. I'm sorry, I'm cutting in here, CJ. But imagine if you don't know the gray zone and you read this, you're like, oh, damn, they know for the misleading reporting. You probably don't. When I repeat, I don't click on this shit. I click on this because I was like, what's your example? They have none. In sympathetic coverage of authoritarian regimes, you mean like CNN and every single mainstream media outlet in this country that cheers on the police state? Oh, sorry. Jesus
we are
Christ.
living inside of the empire.
It's so crazy.
We are living inside
it's completely
of the empire.
unserious.
And all these people pointing fingers at each other look ridiculous to me, man. This is some third grade name calling bullshit, spreading rumors through papers type shit, passing a note through class. This shit it's ridiculous how childish people are, and I can't take this shit serious. This is crazy.
Let me bring up his tweet. This is Max Blumenthal. Tell me, Nick, if this is the tweet you were talking about. But this is the tweet.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. We'll go through the whole thread as we cover it. So, let me go to this. So let me read. It says the Grayzone's Wikipedia page and mine are deceptions filled screeds authored largely by spooks and neocon. This op was personally endorsed by Wikipedia CEO Jimmy Wales, the husband of Tony Blair's ex-secretary and US-UK regime stooge. Here is Wales.
Tony Blair is a war criminal that destroyed the Labor Party.
Exactly.
By the way, go ahead.
No, that's good, because interject that with Tony Blair, because that guy, man, he's one of the worst to me. But let's read this. He says here is Wales smearing us in a DM, and this is DM. Wow, this is native news. Part. How did he get this stuff? Are you familiar with this person, Phil Cross? It's actors like him that I'm referring to. He edits accounts on independent media figures, often smearing them and creating a one-sided narrative. Like many, I view Wikipedia as a neutral outlet to get basic information and reach research topics. When I see pages like Grayzone, it looks like a State Department smear more than anything. This is what concerns me. It looks well sourced to me.
No, I just checked the sources.
It isn't the State Department that makes Grayzone a pro-criminal, low-quality site. It's just the sad truth. I am afraid.
Wow. I told you, see, I actually didn't see the tweet. Wow. So I'm glad I did that before you showed this, because I just checked the sources. There's no sources on that paragraph. Literally none. And go back down to his tweet, his response to the PM. Just scroll down a little bit. And you see how he said, actually, the article well sourced. Where? I just checked it. It is a pro-Kremlin, low-quality site. Wow. Guys, the information war is real. This blew my mind. Go ahead, Ron. I'm sorry, I can't. Go ahead, Ron.
No, yeah, this you took the words out of my mouth. I was just reminding people, like, there is a war on reporting and journalism. As you can see, most of the top journalists or the hottest journalists, whatnot, they all sold the fuck out. They ain't really breaking no news. They ain't telling you what's really going on in Yemen, how many children that we are starving today, even in this country alone. You know, they're not touching the topics that Grayzone, RBN, or Breonna Joy Gray even touch. You know, they try to, even he said it, state, what do you say about them hating the state? This is all hate for the state bullshit. Man,
yeah, smearing the state.
Yeah, but dude, what do you supposed to do as a journalist? Do we supposed to tell the truth? Like, you guys want us to cover up these lies? You guys want us to overlook all this killing, all this death? you know, and overlook all these fucking monsters. People don't call them out. You don't want the information. You don't want to know who the fuck around, who's you know what I'm saying, controlling your government or controlling the ins and outs. What the fuck, like, and it's not even him that I'm mad at. It's not even him that I'm mad at. It's the dumbass Americans that's gonna fall for this shit. The dumbass Americans who are in these fucking echo chambers in their Twitters or Facebooks and whatnot, and they're gonna go and hear somebody talking shit about Max, and they're gonna go Google Max, and then that bullshit gonna pop up, and they're gonna believe it. They're not gonna check. They're not gonna go through them sources like Nick did. No. They're just gonna see it and believe it. Most of these people just read headlines and believe a whole story. Can't take this shit serious, man.
That is so true. That is so true. Rom, let me scroll down just a little bit. Let's go continue with the thread. Now let's. Oops. Oh, this is just the same thing. We read the page, so this is the page again that I showed you earlier. Now let's go here. Wikipedia has officially blacklisted the Grayzone, banning users from citing us while maintaining a page to smear us. Wikipedia leadership is deeply embedded with the intelligence services and U.S. Government regime change outfits we routinely expose. This is an article I have. We're gonna open it up and just read a snippet of it.
I'm just saying, like, guys, come on, y'all. Why would they do that if they wasn't entertained? Does that sound like someone who's neutral? We won't allow any edits on what? But go ahead, CJ. That's crazy.
That's crazy. So let me share it with you because it opens up in another tab when I click on the article. So here is that article from the Grayzone. Meet Wikipedia's and Rand Loving, founder and Wikimedia Foundation's regime change operative CEO. This is by Ben Norton and Max Blumenthal. This was written in June 2020. Wikipedia has become a bulletin board for corporate and imperialist interests under the watch of its Randian founder, Jimmy Wales, and the veteran U.S. regime change operative who heads the Wikimedia Foundation, Catherine Meyer. Right? What's the name of that guy has the show? Same name. Bill Maher, Catherine Marr. Sorry. By Ben Norton and Max Blumenthal. So let's read a little bit of this, maybe the first two paragraphs, and then we'll pause to comment. This is part 2 in a series of investigative reports on the systematic problem with Wikipedia. Read part 1 here. Wikipedia formally censors the Grayzone as regime change advocates monopolized editing. Internet encyclopedia giant Wikipedia has listed the Grayzone as a deprecated source, censoring the independent organization alongside several other news websites on an official blacklist of taboo media outlets. The blacklisting is the result of a long-running campaign run by a coterie of regime change activists who have effectively hijacked Wikipedia, scrubbing the site of information that runs counter to their sectarian agenda and editing their political adversaries out of existence. At no point has this cabal of editors pointed to a pattern of errors or fabrications by the Grayzone, like what you were saying, Nick. They have no sources. Instead, they have argued for its blacklisting on the grounds of political views of its writers, a wholesale violation of Wikipedia's guidelines that demand neutrality in editing. Let's pause right there. Any comments? Either one of you want to chime in so far as about this article and just the I'm just gonna be honest. Like, I was one of those people you described, Rome, maybe about, I would say 5 or 6 years ago, where I thought I'm gullible. I was gullible. It's like, it's so, when you're not examining things from a capitalist perspective, you're constantly not understanding how capitalism has an angle for everything. So I wasn't even thinking. I was like, okay, information. This is just information. Why would anybody lie on this shit? I'm looking up in this shit and come to find out these people is fucking editing this shit with the idea of corruption and empire in mind. Your thoughts, sir? Rome is in a store. Okay, Rome is in a store, so I won't get his thoughts. I'll just continue to read. I didn't know he was in a store. My bad, Rome. All right, so I'll continue to read. I'll go back to the article until he's done there and get his comment. So, let's continue on this part. At no point has. Oh, sorry. Let's continue here. As detailed in part 1 of this series, Wikipedia. This is part 2 that I'm reading. Wikipedia's founder and Wikimedia's foundation have done nothing to address the fundamental corruption of the internet encyclopedia they oversee by a gang of hyper-partisan censors. That might be because the founder of Wikipedia, Jimmy Wales, and the executive director of Wikimedia Foundation, veteran regime change U.S. regime change operative Catherine Marr share the interventionist and corporate agenda that the disproportionate powerful neoconservative oriented editors advance under their watch. I think that's enough of this article. I see both of you, or I see you back, Nick. What do you think, though, of some of what this article is saying? Because like I was saying, I think you were off screen. I was gullible 5 or 6 years ago. I thought that this was a legitimate thing for me to use to look up stuff.
Propaganda that Wikipedia did, like being an anti-imperialist opens your eyes on a lot of this stuff. But when you first learn, like, Jesus, how much information that I didn't take that was CIA propaganda? Because when the internet first hit, it hit the establishment off guard. When you had anti-establishment minded people that can come together and debunk the Iraq war, they were not ready for that. That was in the 2000s. This is what radicalized me. I remember I was a teenager reading about the quote-unquote conspiracy theory that later turned out to be true about George Bush. I read these forums. People are like, they lying about WMB. I'm like, well, I don't remember what sites I used to go on, but it was so long ago. I read about stuff like, this is crazy. And they got caught off guard by that. That led to an anti-war movement that Barack Obama would later squash. Now they said, okay, bro, this social media shit, this internet shit, we got to shut this shit down. Bro, hey, Google. Hey, let's get some executives. Let's have some meetings. Let's put this disinformation campaign out. That's why it links to that from the Grayzone Wikipedia page. And now they got hardcore censoring on the internet, mostly of anti-war voices, despite what a lot of right wing pretend is happening. Most of it just anti-war voices being smeared and attacked by the ruling class working with big tech on the internet, because they can't allow a true freedom of exchange of ideas, right?
Especially when it comes to military and war, especially, Nick, when it comes to that. And to your point, it wasn't just the Grayzone and Max Blumenthal. So in this thread, so we just read this article, and I just scrolled down. So just keep it in line. He talks more about Jimmy Wales, so I wanted to skip that part. But here, Aaron Monte chimes in. Mine too. The people who claim to believe that Grayzone is a fringe blog happen to also spread a lot of the time and energy fabricating claims about it. So let's read where he says here. Aaron Monte from Wikipedia. Aaron Monte is a Canadian journalist and a reporter for the Grayzone, a fringe blog known for its. Oh, it's the same. It just says the same thing. But look what it adds here for Aaron. A fringe blog known for its sympathetic coverage of authoritarian regimes, pro-Putin propaganda, and denial of the Uyghur genocide. And this is the thing that liberals
the population increases. The population and the quality of life for the population increases, and they say it's a genocide. They repeat state propaganda as fact.
And you know who else repeats this? Anna Kasparian and TYT. This is their attack line on Aaron Monte, Nick. I don't know if you ever heard them attack him on this. Anna in particular. He's the guy who denies that there was a Uyghur genocide. That's how that clip rings in my head because I've seen it many times.
Bro, there's so many of these stories. You gotta look. AP News confirms no Uyghur genocide in China. This is Project Syndicate. Xinjiang genocide allegations are unjustified. State Department lawyers concluded there's no evidence for genocide in China. These are just facts. You can criticize a state's treatment of a minority. Saying there's a ethnic genocide of Uyghur Muslims is like saying there's a genocide of Black Americans. There's a higher death rate in our communities. Our life expectancy has dropped. Theirs has gone up. So if you want to water down what it means to have a genocide, you can easily say Black people being in genocide here, Palestinians being genocide over there. Then you're just watering down the term. And they do that to make China look bad because the United States is actually sponsoring genocides in places like Yemen. They actually sponsoring ethnic cleansing in places like Palestine. So they had to make up a genocide just so they say, oh, look, we're not the only one who genocide people. Sorry, teacher, that my rant on that. I didn't want to interrupt your segment, but go ahead.
No. I think I'm coming to an end on this segment. I did want it to be sort of a short segment.
I got one more thing I want to add because
but go ahead.
They also hit Jimmy Dore because I remember I heard him talking about this once. Like if you go down to Jimmy Dore,
I didn't know that.
Look, conspiracy. Look, this is controversies tab. Controversies, guys. If you go to any mainstream media outlet, like if you look at pick a name, fucking any CNN host.
Don Lemon,
like Don Lemon, Rachel Maddow. I'm trying to think of the new big name guy. They don't have controversy tabs for those people, for one. And look at this one. This is one that caught my eye. Dore argued that the chemicals weapons attack, the false flag in Syria, they said that was a conspiracy. And that's a controversy, even though literally Aaron Mate got a award for debunking this. And they have this on the Wikipedia page.
They don't care about no debunking, no facts. What are you talking about? Facts? This is the CIA given authority to do whatever they want to do. Whatever they want to do and cannot be prosecuted, including by the FBI. So, I mean, like, they don't give a damn about facts.
Yeah, I saw someone ask, does RBN have a Wikipedia page? Best believe if we do, they're going to be on that shit real fast.
They're going to be all over
They're going to be like, RBN is founded by Red Brown Alliance enthusiast Nick Cruz, who actually may be a secret Russian op. We don't know. We just ask questions. In Rome, he was a communist infiltrator who wants to lead a violent revolution. That would be the intro paragraph.
That would be it.
Rage-induced CJ with mysterious origins.
Mysterious
I can only imagine. The so-called savage stabs the host from Boston. If we are really sure that where she's from.
Anyway. Yeah, it'd be like Rome, like that, if that's his name. Because a lot of people don't know Rome is his middle name.
Like one of the co-founders is a violent communist thug.
Yeah, so that is absolutely true. But I think, Nick, unless you have more to say, let's try to squeeze this in before our other guests, because this truly is like a 5-minute story. No, let's squeeze this in right before the Jamaal Bowman calling out NATO. Yeah, because it's just a quick video to show. This actually is from Mint Press, who we're going to be having Dan Cohen on in just a moment, who is also from Mint Press. But let's listen to Labor member Angelo Sanchez. He was suspended for calling out NATO. And let me take this off. And let's listen to the video. I think it's translated, but I think it's translated, but let's listen anyway.
What does supporting motion?
No, it's in English.
13 on Ukraine mean? It means that the future Labour government will be sending money to a government, the Ukrainian government, that is repressing the left in their own country. A government that is criminalizing socialist parties and imprisoning Ukrainian activists. You will be supporting a government that has passed anti-workers laws, which completely strips Ukrainian workers of collective rights. If you support this motion, Motion 13 on Ukraine. You are not supporting the Ukrainian people. You are supporting only the United States. You are supporting neoliberalism. You are supporting imperialism.
That wouldn't hurt him.
Sorry, excuse me, delegate. This is a debate.
They interrupt him talking.
You know that because I was just about to say that last part he said. We support NATO. You support neoliberalism. You support the U.S. I was like, God damn! And you see when they start jeering. Remember my debate with Robbie. Robbie started jeering when they jeer when you land the body blow. They just wait. They just sit here mad as fuck.
That is absolutely true.
They mad as fuck.
That is absolutely true.
Then when you say something serious,
yeah, militarism or capital. You say then that's when they got to wake up and jump in.
You know, playing that part again, like maybe go back 15 seconds because that when he lands the body blow, and then that's when they're like, oh shit, this motherfucker just destroyed.
I'm gonna start it where it says you are not supporting Ukraine people. Then he's gonna say you're supporting. Okay,
go there because that's a great point. That's a point that I continue to make. People think you are supporting Ukraine by refusing to advocate for peace. They're like, oh, we got to support Ukraine by defeating Putin. At what cost? I will argue, and many rational people will argue, you can't defeat Putin. But let's go by your insane hypothetical. How many Ukrainians are you trying to kill so you can just defeat Putin? How about we just pull out NATO? How about we just demilitarize the Azov battalion? Those are good starting points, right? Instead of allowing people to die. That's not the pro-Ukrainian position. But sorry,
man.
Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, it's a lot of these people with their Ukrainian flags in and whatnot. But these people say they stand with the people of Ukraine, but they don't, because if they did, they would have listened to the people of Donbass. They wouldn't overlook these war crimes that's happening right now. They won't overlook even the pictures that we see on Twitter, on the internet, of people tied to logs, tied to posts, beaten. You know what I'm saying? Sprayed in their face with some kind of paint, whatever the fuck it is. They overlooking all of this hurt just to find another way to say we upholding white supremacy. You know what I'm saying? Like, because there is no other way. You know what I'm saying? You can look at this shit like Russia just going off. If Russia wanted to just go off and invade or attack any country, why in the fuck would he pick on Ukraine? If I was Putin, with the nuclear with the nuclear weapons that I have right now, et cetera, if I wanted war, I would just come after America. I would just go after Europe, for real. You know, like, that's fucking war, man. But you guys overlook all this hurt. You don't stand with the people of Ukraine. Y'all people don't stand with the people of Ukraine. You people are hypocrites.
You don't care about the Ukrainians that was shelled by the Azov battalion and the Ukrainian government. They don't care about those people. They only stand with the right Ukrainians.
The right ones. That is such a great point. Let's get back to the video. About 45 seconds left.
Motion 13 on Ukraine. You are not supporting the Ukrainian people. You are supporting only the United States. You are supporting neoliberalism. You are supporting imperialism.
Sorry, excuse me, delegate. This is a debate. You've got to listen to all points of view, please. No.
If you support this motion 13 on Ukraine, you will be complicit of war crimes committed by the United States.
Facts.
The NATO is just a tool for maintaining U.S. hegemony. Therefore, supporting the NATO, you are not supporting the Ukrainian people. You are supporting the U.S. hegemony.
You could tell he was nervous, maybe because just public speaking, a lot of people are nervous, but he had on his mind that he was going to make sure he got this shit out. And you could tell that English is a second language for him. And I'm just proud that guy, this young person, there's people that's finally saying, hey, no more to this fucking nonsense. And I'm putting this is what we want our politicians to do, Nick, is go put yourself on the line, man, and say that you're for something instead of staying in your little cozy little fucking area and you know, just stand to yourself. Let me read to you what happened to him. Eyewitnesses have told I think it's Skybox or Skywalk Box that Mr. Sanchez was subject to considerable abuse, including vile smears and name calling for voicing facts and his views on their significance. Now the party has suspended his membership. Go ahead, Nick and Rome, if you want to chime in.
Yeah, this is a good time. I want to add this because they have people actually speaking out, and I show examples of like Claire Daly and many what the real left looks like. I showed comments that came from Lula, who I have many criticisms of. I have many criticisms of Lula, but he got the Ukraine war right? Like when you look at the leftists in the global South, if you look at some leftists in Europe and the far left parties, they're one to call this out. Meanwhile, what do we have in the United States? In the United States, we have people who they are NATO progressives. they're NATO progressives. So now you have
the NATO squad. NATO squad.
the collective West have completely lost their minds. And this is Zelensky in Ukraine officially filing to join NATO. Something that we've been covering closely here. This is the video. I don't really play audio here, but this is the Ukrainian president Zelensky signs NATO application. And now things are going to get real because now you have the West poking the bear even more and using the bullshit Ukraine offensive to justify sending more weapons and propagandizing people in Europe and the United States that they can win this war. And they're like, we don't care how many Ukrainians die. I know you guys are going to freeze in the winter in Europe. I know there's going to be massive famine and crop shortages in Africa and the global South, and food prices and inflation is going to be crazy for you guys. That doesn't matter. We want to expand the NATO and the military industrial complex by all costs. And anyone who supported the Ukraine money laundering scandal and did not call this out, congratulations. This is your legacy because things are going to get bad real fast. Real fast. Putin declares Ukrainian region, like this is the referendum they did, and this is Zelensky. He did a NATO application in response to this. Russia is escalating and mobilizing the military, which people like RBN, Scott Ritter, and Combo Council, our allies, we were trying to stop this from happening. People are like, oh my God, Russia is finally taking this war serious. Look at these people they're trying to drive. Guys, why you guys think we've been saying we should have peace here? Now you guys understand who actually anti-war? The people who were cheering on, picking a fight against Putin, even though he was pussyfooting with you guys. Then you guys, we can defeat Putin. We can defeat Putin. You see the Ukrainian offensive? Putin like, all right, let's bitch slap these motherfuckers. And now they want to melt down over it. So
we have such a bully complex. We have such a bully because the bully doesn't understand he's bullying your actions. They just think my actions are legitimate and it's not bullying. It's like what you're doing. Like, do you really not understand that what you're doing is bullying? And I'm not sure. I think it's intentional. They try to pretend like, look at, and they constantly want to frame it in media when they say stuff like Russia's escalation. Why are they putting that little name on it? Like when they said Russia's inflation, they're trying to intentionally obfuscate their own sort of responsibility in the matter.
And it's gonna be bad. Like
go ahead, Ron.
A lot of people are gonna die. And this,
sorry.
Go ahead, Ron.
Oh,
sorry.
My bad, yo. No, I was just saying, like, I love how Nick was saying, like, because all this shit is hypocritical. Because all these people say we don't want a nuclear war, we don't want a war. You know, Putin escalated this, but we don't want a war. Okay, well, you should be advocating against the war, right? So every time we see, like today, we seen that Joe Biden and the Congress is setting up $1 to Ukraine. You know what I'm saying? So when shit like that happens, when we putting money into war, when we going, not even now. Because see, we've been at war before I was even born, man. We've been at war 200 and some fucking years. I haven't seen none of these people fighting against none of these regime changes we have done in the 20th century. None of this shit, but now they want to be, we're against war. Okay, if you so much against war, be against war everywhere, every kind of way, you know. But they don't see the bullshit that they shit my motherfuckers saying. Man,
and that's our critique. That's our critique of the United States elected left. It's like if you're gonna say you're anti-war, you have to be anti-war in all instances. But what I do want to say in closing out this segment, I do see our guests in the back. In closing out this segment, why why isn't the expectation from people who support the left, the elected left, why isn't our expectation that they're talking like Angelo Sanchez? Why isn't Bernie Sanders having speeches on the floor of Congress saying nobody who calls themselves a progressive should be voting to fund NATO? Why isn't he saying these things that a lot of these international people can clearly see and say on the floor of their respective government? Like you said, you pointed out the person in Australia, and then the other counterpart to Claire is the long hair long hair guy that kind of does videos too. Like all these people internationally are able to use their government's platform and call it out, except for the ones in the United States. And I just wanted to make that point as we close out this segment here. Yeah,
I do. I piss people off so much when they hear my Bernie Sanders takes. But when you compare Lula's take on the Ukraine war, when you compare Claire Daly's takes, and many people that have been calling this out, they make Bernie Sanders look like Ronald Reagan. And no matter what they did before, because I'll tell you, this is going to be a conflict that's going to go down in history books. World War III right now is trending. I don't know if it'll go that far. It's definitely a possibility. The risk of nuclear war is higher than it's ever been. So it does not matter what Bernie Sanders and the progressives did before. After the deaths that they co-signed, this is their legacy now. Mick Wallace is another one. Thank you in the chat. See you. Their legacy will forever be supporting the new Cold War against China, voting for weapons built to Taiwan, supporting the Ukraine proxy war uncritically that led to this position now. And I know that's hard to say, but I didn't want to see it. But now we got all these people accountable. And the imperialists on the left, it has to end. Has to end. With that said, we have our guests. We have a independent journalist join us, a great filmmaker as well. I love your reporting, especially the reporting that you do on Haiti, and that's going to be the main topic of discussion. Thank you for joining RBN, Dan Cohen.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah, I want to get your thoughts on Haiti. You had amazing film that you got coming out, I believe, on that. You have done, and I follow your work for a while. You do a lot of great reporting on Haiti. But before we get into that, just because we were talking about NATO, I want to ask your opinion about that. Have you been following Zelensky now asking to join NATO, and what's your general thoughts on the state of the Ukraine? Well, just because we just did that segment, I want to get your thoughts on that before we get started.
Before he answers that, since this is my first time meeting you and probably some of our audience, can you tell us more like who you are and who you are and what you do so that our audience can be more familiar of who you are?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first, thanks a lot for having me on, guys. I appreciate what you guys do a lot, and independent journalists. I've been reporting. Lately, I've been very focused on Haiti. I started working in Palestine back in 2014, and made a documentary called "Killing Gaza." Which you can see online for free, or if you want to go pay $5, that'll mostly go to me just paying Vimeo. You can do that. And then I worked for RT America for a while. I moved to Washington, D.C., grew up in Phoenix, live in D.C. now. And I'm an independent journalist. And my new documentary is coming out in a couple of weeks. It's called Another Vision: Inside Haiti's Uprising. I made it with my colleague Kim Ives, who, anyone who follows Haiti over the last 3 decades, then you know who Kim Ives is. Check out his work. He runs a website called Haiti Liberté. And he has, if you want to see kind of the basis of neoliberalism, not only in Haiti, but really just the neoliberal model. He made a great film back in the 80s, when I was in diapers. That, oh man, the name of it escapes me right now. I don't know if y'all can hear my daughter is just screaming downstairs. Maybe it's not picking up here.
I can relate. No, I can hear her, but I can relate because the same thing was happening to me in an earlier stream today.
Right.
Same thing.
Right when we started, my brother went and picked her up. My brother's visiting. He goes and picks her up, and she's downstairs just screaming for me. He doesn't understand that. Yeah, but so I have this documentary coming out on Haiti called Another Vision. And then I just released a piece for Mint Press News a couple of days ago on what is very clearly an imminent military intervention, U.S. military intervention in Haiti to just, once again stomp out a very real people's uprising. And there's a real dearth of good reporting on Haiti. So especially because, very few people understand Creole, myself included. But Kim is a fluent Creole speaker. And so, he's helped me a lot. And, but I'm really trying to focus on kind of the U.S. aspect as far as the preparation for military intervention in Haiti.
Absolutely. All right. So thank you for the introduction. So if you want to dive into Nick's question, did you want to re-ask it, Nick, just in case he?
Yeah. Sorry, I kind of forgot.
Yeah, that's okay because we were just covering Zelensky.
Oh, NATO.
Yeah, spanning NATO, trying to span NATO in Ukraine. Now they're like, this is a new escalation. Russia's had the referendum, and now Russia has been mobilizing their troops because now after the Ukrainian offensive, all right, let's take this seriously. Let's smack them around for real. So I was going to give you a take on the insane NATO expansion that the West been pushing. Your thoughts on the strategy come from the West in waging this new war against Russia. If you want to take that on, Dan.
Yeah, for sure. Just texting my brother.
Yeah, it's all good. We very chill here. We chill here.
Yeah. No, I know you guys are cool. You take it easy. But yeah, I'm just like, take her in the basement or something. It's comfy down there. And you can scream all she wants.
It's not like distracting at all. It's not loud enough to be distracting.
Yeah, fortunately,
I don't really hear anything, to be honest.
Yeah, it's because this mic fortunately doesn't like pick up on what's going on out there. But
yeah, I'm a parent. I just can hear it. That's probably why I can hear the remnants of it. But Nick
right.
It, so
yeah,
you're good. You're good, bro.
You got like that sixth sense once you become a parent. Where you're like,
I can just hear something going on.
Right. Like, what is that? Oh, it's not mine. All right. But yeah. I mean, it's this is totally avoidable, but the U.S. chose this very perilous situation we're in. We're on the brink of World War III, and it's incredibly dangerous. The idea of nuclear war is horrifying, and just the idea that like 2 miles from where I live in DC, that these maniacs in power are doing everything possible to drive the world into just like to create human extinction. And there's not any resistance from any single political figure in the United States. I mean, I know you guys were talking about Bernie. There's nothing from Bernie, nothing from the squad. I mean, I don't know. I'm guessing. I haven't followed, but there are some of the kind of like so-called populist right figures that have talked about, that oppose NATO at least in some way, whether it's partisan or not for them, and that's kind of like weird. But I have to embrace anybody resisting, at least to the degree that they are resisting, the end of human species. And it's just shows the U.S. is the permanent war state, and the U.S. will not allow any country to have any kind of independence or sovereignty. And now that it's kind of losing its power over parts of the world with the rise of Russia and China into, superpowers over the last couple decades, in response to colonialism and U.S. aggression and the Cold War, the U.S. is just like, it's a zero-sum game. The U.S. like, we're going to burn Europe down unless, Russia, you allow us to do whatever we want. So it's just a horrifying situation. And I hope somehow cooler heads and diplomacy prevails.
Yeah, I kind of want you to your thoughts on this because, and you can put back on me if you want to, because I see to me it seems like the West is losing, and I want to see if you agree, like in terms of the messaging war. Because once again, shout out to my good friend Zoya. She sent me this. This is just breaking at least 28 minutes ago, according to this tweet. Just in, Russia vetoed and China, India, Brazil abstained from voting on the UN Security Council resolution condemning the Russian annexation in the referendum. And this is just announced today. And the West is freaking out about it. And I know that, look, think about this, guys. This is majority of the world population that is against the West. China, India, and Brazil, Russia.
Yeah.
Then you got African countries that are not going along with this. This is the West, like 30% population against 70% that's not going along with it. This is breaking. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Dan? And then we move on to Haiti.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the UN Security Council for a long time was dominated by the United States. I mean, in the case of Haiti, UN peacekeepers, I'm using scare quotes there, went to Haiti following the 2004 coup and just wreaked havoc. I mean, that's not news to anyone, but UN so-called peacekeepers were horrible in Haiti and committed all kinds of terrible crimes. And that can't happen anymore through the UN because Russia and China are just not what they were 20 years ago. One of the actually really important parts that I don't get into so much in my piece, but is really essential, not only for Haiti, but really for kind of the neo-colonies around the world, smaller countries that aren't Russia, that aren't China, that can't fend off the US so easily. There's something called the Global Fragility Act that was passed in 2019 that basically the idea is it's in the context of so-called great power competition, which is the delineated in the 2017 National Security Strategy. And basically the US is like, well, we can't dominate the UN how we used to, and we're losing control of parts of the world. So they passed something called the Global Fragility Act to basically strengthen U.S. control of so-called fragile states. And it's basically a State Department, USAID, and Pentagon initiative that, it's kind of the carrot and the stick. So, pump in whatever kind of money to do phony aid programs that'll be a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound, and then use Pentagon special forces, proxy forces, wherever they want to take out any kind of, people's uprising, anything like that. And the test case is Haiti. That's the very first one. And that's essentially the mechanism that the United States wants to use in Haiti to intervene. And I actually went to a House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing on Haiti yesterday, and it just confirmed all of my analysis and everything I said in that piece that I did for Mint Press. That, one congresswoman from LA or from California, I think she's in like Orange County, Sarah something, I can't think of her name, but she's, a young, like early 30s Biden Democrat. And she's like, the Global Fragility Act is, our major policy shift in Haiti. And it's all about, it's all about circumventing the United Nations. And if you watch in the video, I found a clip of Robert Menendez, the neocon senator from New Jersey, who is complaining that Russia and China blocked them in the UN from sending police advisors, the State Department sending police advisors to Haiti for 12 months, and it was reduced to only 9 months. And so Menendez says to the State Department guy, he's like, we got to find a way to circumvent that. So these international bodies, which used to be tools of the U.S., are now getting in the way of the U.S. And that, what you just showed, Nick, is a perfect example, and totally relates to Haiti and everything happening globally.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I love the connections that you make on this as well. So I want to play this clip. This is a trailer from your the film that's coming out, and let's play this. And I want to get both your and CJ and Ron's thoughts. I'll be interested in seeing your guys' thoughts on this as well. So let's play this trailer, and then we get into some more discussion.
A nation in turmoil, ravaged by empire, neighborhoods at war, the state on the brink of collapse, revolution in the air. A man at the center of it all. To some, a villain.
Jimmy Cherise alias Barbecue, li te vle guide nou non façon pou nan voler même j'appelle.
He's a criminal. He's not a revolutionary.
To others, a hero.
4 minutes à chercher manger pour manger.
He is a revolutionary leader.
C'est grâce à déporter avec monsieur Barbecue qu'a fait vivre.
Join us as we seek to uncover the truth about the uprising in Haiti today.
Attention. Wait, watch out. Come here.
They have to have a revolution. It's got to happen.
Wow, so that looks fire, and that look like it's a must watch. And there's so many thoughts that bring up, and I'm glad that you went on the ground to try to relay the truth. And I want to ask you about the conflict they bring up there, where they are talking about the revolutionary and they trying to call him a criminal. And I know just from studying my history what they called our revolutionary leaders, right? They consider MLK to be a criminal, a crook, Malcolm X, Fred Hampton to be. So you know more about this than me. That's why I have you on the show. I would love for you to explain what is true. What is our media not telling us? And what do you think is important to share after watching that video?
Right, exactly. Well, yeah, I'm excited. That's I haven't watched that in a little while. It's exciting for me too. I can't wait to get this thing out. But yeah, I mean, you're right on when you say, look at what they've called revolutionaries in the United States, and like real revolutionaries, not like the founding fathers. The real revolutionaries. Look what they said and what they did to Martin Luther King Jr., to Malcolm X, to Fred Hampton. They all got assassinated. That they call them terrorists and assassinate them, and of course that goes for around the world too. And so that guy in who is basically the central figure in the documentary, his name is Jimmy Cherizier. His nickname is Barbecue. And if you Google him, if you look up any U.S. media, you will see or you will read that he is a mass murderer, that he's committed a whole bunch of massacres of innocent people, that he's just, the worst guy in Haiti, and he's responsible for all of the chaos and everything that's going on today. And it's the same thing, the same narrative that was being pushed in that House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing that I was sitting in on yesterday. And so, I basically, what happened is the president of Haiti was assassinated last July 2021. I interviewed Kim Ives, who I knew because he supported my work on Palestine. And Kim, I asked him, what is this about? And he basically explained they want someone stronger than the president of Haiti who could put down this revolutionary movement that is growing. I don't know, can we call it a revolutionary movement until it succeeds in revolution? I don't know, but for lack of a better term, I call it that. And so I asked him after the interview, I was like, can we go down there and meet him? I mean, if there's a real deal revolution about to happen and no one here in media knows anything about it, let's go see what's up. So I went down to Haiti with Kim a couple of times, and we met Barbecue and filmed with him. And he showed us around his neighborhood. And I talked to people in the neighborhood, and I talked to people, who oppose him, namely National Endowment for Democracy funded, human rights figures. The same guy who was testifying in Congress yesterday. His name is Pierre Esperance. He's the guy in the trailer who says, real coldly, he's not a revolutionary. He's a criminal. That guy's funded by the NED.
Of course.
And he was also a key figure in the 2004 coup against Aristide. So he's just, basically just a U.S. disinformation agent, and he's real close with the U.S. Embassy. And so if you actually, and this is part of what the first episode of the documentary gets into, if you examine the claims against Barbecue, against Jimmy Cherizier, specifically, there are 3 massacres that they say he is responsible for. one in a neighborhood called Grand Ravine, another in a neighborhood called La Saline, and another in a neighborhood called Bel Air. There's not a shred of evidence that those were massacres, but rather were armed confrontations, what in U.S. media they would call gang fights. But I just, I reject the term gang because it's so loaded. It's like the same way they would talk about, it's like when you don't have any kind of, when the state doesn't really exist and there's so much insecurity, you have essentially neighborhood groups that emerge, strong men, you could even call them, right?
And they call them gangs for their propaganda. Like me and CJ, we talk about this all the time. Like the small propaganda they do. And I'm glad you brought that up because I'm learning more about this, and I'm glad that you can educate us on this, because when I see people like Haitian gangs are terrorizing the streets, like, is that mainstream propaganda that they're saying?
Totally. It's totally totally propaganda.
Mm.
There are,
I believe it.
I mean, if the term gang means like, criminal armed groups, those do exist, but those are the ones they never, ever, ever talk about in U.S. media. The one they occasionally talk about is called the 400 Maozo, and that is a real criminal network. But that is not the one that is attacked by the United States. That's the one that kidnapped 16 Americans and 1 Canadian last year. But, Jimmy Cherizier is under U.S. sanctions. The leader of the 400 Maozo is not. And the leader and the 400 Maozo and Jimmy Cherizier's group he calls it the Revolutionary Forces. The full name is the Revolutionary Forces of the G9 Family and Allies. Mess with one, you mess with all. Kind of a mouthful, but they just call it the G9 for short. The G9, which is basically an anti-crime armed group and that's totally committed to social revolution and social progress, and also has weapons. They fight with the criminal networks that kidnap people, that rape people, that, steal and extort and that kind of thing. And there's just no evidence for any of the claims against him. And, I just saw like, wow, this is crazy. There's just nobody telling the truth. No one investigating, going to the ground. And when I went down there with Kim, ahead of time, I talked to a few friends who had been to Haiti, different, journalists and activists. And they were like, yeah, I don't know, Kim might be wrong on this one. And I told Kim, like, I don't know, we're going to make this documentary, but I don't know if I'm going to agree with your analysis. And everything he said was spot on. And, it all checked out. And so it's just, the U.S. government is basically like, oh, they're getting restless in Haiti and it's gangs and criminals and we got to go put them down.
Dude, I'm super glad that you debunking this stuff, because I was reading this article on the Black Agenda Report, because the Black Agenda Report and a very small amount of people, including you, props, right, for covering Haiti, the left in general, I noticed that, I was talking to CJ about this before, even the anti-imperialist left, they good on like the war on terror, right? They focus on the war on terror a lot. A lot of people are focused on Ukraine because it's a very hot topic. I noticed the left in general, they tend not to really focus on the global south that much. They don't focus on Haiti and Africa. Now, you can make the argument that there's some anti-blackness on why a lot of leftists tend not to care about what happened in Haiti, the weakness on Haiti, the weakness on Somalia and U.S. intervention in Africa. I'm going to share this headline, and I just want to get your reaction to this, because it kind of highlights what I'm talking about. Because people are uncurious to debunk the lies that come from the West, it caused even the left to be weak on this issue. I saw a comment that is a great point. Even Lula da Silva has shown insane weakness on Haiti in supporting the Western narrative and intervention in the area. Even Lula. And this is an article written by Jemima Pierre. This came out literally last week in the Black Agenda Report. It said the leftism of the Americas collapses at the door of Haitian sovereignty. And you notice they use Americas, not U.S.
Right.
So they even call out people that we give props to all the time. Even leftists in the global South are weak on the issue of Haiti. And that's why I'm glad that you here set the record straight. I'm not going to dive in this article too much, but they really line out a lot of the weakness on and many, even Venezuelan leftists have fallen for a lot of state talking points on Haiti. So do you have any reaction to that?
Let me add this in, because I want him to also kind of speak to this point. And that is, when we are talking about propaganda and the use of gangs and stuff like that, you have to ask yourself, who is saying it and who benefits from this narrative. Like, who benefits from this narrative. Now, if you want to come in with a police force, you start to say there's crime going on. You start to saying these are thugs, these are gang members, so that you can come in with your repressive sort of police forces. But the point I want to make about propaganda is this: it's intentional. It's intentional so that it creates an emotion in you. This is what I'll say about propaganda. It's not telling you directly, hey, believe this. It's creating a condition for you to believe the lies that they tell. It creates the condition. So if you something as simple as labeling them as a gang, that creates a psychological condition in reading of the story, of the understanding of the story, that changes it for you as a human who's intaking this information. So you're going, gang, well, gang can't possibly be good. So any spin that this is good, how can that be? They're called a gang. It's the same usage of terrorists. It's the same usage. It's the same domestic sort of strategy that they do internationally. So Nick, I'll pass it to you to kind of insert if you wanted to add a part to that, and then we'll have Dan kind of address both.
Dan, if you want to, another thing I want to add, and I'll give you a reaction to this as well, Dan. AMLO is another great example because AMLO has helped the United States and helped implement its Remain in Mexico policy that was used to crush Haitians, and they get that into they explain that in great detail in this article. But I just want to read this part as well. Do leaders in the region even know what's going on in Haiti? Surely they know about the 2004 U.S., Canada, France-led coup d'etat against Haiti's democratically elected president, and the Chapter 7 deployment of the United Nations occupation force. Indeed, and this is the heartbreaking part, it was Lula's Brazil that led the military wing of that occupation that brought nothing but violence and devastation to the Haitian peoples. Brazil's active participation in that occupation led to the migration of thousands of Haitian workers to Brazil, where they provided cheap labor to build the infrastructure for the Olympics and World Cup. So I want to give you guys a few examples. This is another one. This is AMLO. I read it just so you guys get a better explanation. AMLO must knows what he's doing. This is the leftist president in Mexico. After all, even as he gets celebrated for his leftist credentials, the Mexican president continues to collude with the U.S. Border Patrol to militarize the southern border against migrants and enforce the U.S. Remain in Mexico policy. Meanwhile, Haitian and other Black migrants continue to suffer racist abuse in Mexico. So I'm gonna ask you this, Dan, just so I can reframe the question for you, because I was talking about how a lot of people I know this because I've been trying to sharpen my sword on this topic too. There have been a lot of people who are weak on Haiti. Why do you think so many people in left media and even the global South, who I praise to be much better than the U.S. left, why are so many people getting this wrong? Do you want to take that on, Dan?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think there's a number of things that come into play. The biggest thing for me, at least just as like a journalist and outside observer, I guess, is like there's very little reliable media, or it's like when we're talking about Venezuela or something and like the coups against Maduro, there's a lot of people who speak Spanish and English, and there's a lot of like stuff we can tap into as, you know, anti-imperialists, like people in media and to understand. And there's Telesur and that kind of thing. With Haiti, there's really, you know, very, very, very little. And there's also the language barrier, like I said before, the fact that so few people rather speak Creole, myself included. And so I'm trying to address that, but that's, you know, the good fortune I've had to work with Kim, who learned, you know, Creole in the 70s and has been totally committed to Haiti ever since then. So I think it's like when there's not an alternative, someone who's going to the ground and figuring out what is the real deal. Who is this? What is this uprising? Is this a color revolution? Is this really a people's revolution? What political orientation does it have? When nobody does that, then the default is like the State Department narrative kind of takes over. It's just like the default that's laundered through the New York Times, through the Daily Beast, through like all the Washington Post, like all the media sphere, and we don't know how to resist. Like what's real and what's not, what is the truth and what are lies. And so that's what I'm trying to do. I think that's largely the case in terms of, that's what I attribute it to personally. That's what I think it is. Is there anti-blackness? Quite possibly. I mean, I didn't know, hardly anything about Haiti until I decided to like take this on. And I think, that's just how it is for a lot of people. In terms of the political level, you talk like AMLO and Lula. I don't really know what Brazil's strategy was back in the 2004 days. Brazilians had I know were one of the biggest contingents, if not the biggest, among the UN force that was basically doing all kinds of horrible things in Haiti. So I don't know what he was thinking, if it was like, well, I'll play nice with the U.S. and then I'll get something out of it.
Do you know if he's better now? I don't know his like. Do you know? I'm just curious.
I don't know. I don't really know the deal with Lula overall in that way. What's that?
Yeah, because that election coming up soon.
Yeah. No,
go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
I haven't followed that real close. I haven't followed the Brazilian election really closely. But then in terms of AMLO, I mean, how I see AMLO, and this is, again, I'm not like an expert on Mexico. I think that the election of AMLO obviously broke this two-party, or really like one-party monopoly on politics, and he started a kind of he started progress. So it's like little by little. I wouldn't expect AMLO to in one day or one term be able to just completely upend the relationship with the United States, even in terms of like the ugliest parts of it, deportations, remain in Mexico, all of this stuff. So I don't know how much of that we can attribute to AMLO and how much of it is like, this is reality that AMLO has to deal with, that even as the president. And that's not an excuse for him. I just, I'm not sure where reality is.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. We've seen the Black Agenda report. They had harsh words to say from, I don't know the exact political struggle that he had to have in Mexico, but sorry, go ahead, Dan. Go ahead.
No, it's all good. So that's my sense is that, AMLO is like, he's not like a Chavez who's like coming to power through revolution. He's doing it, little by little. And the people who I know who are the sharpest on Mexico are supportive of him, despite the current situation being what it is. And obviously, the conditions of migrants in Mexico coming through Mexico, all through Central America and South America and Haiti and everywhere else. CJ, I think, what you said in terms of the language of the use of gangs is it's dead on. You're completely right. It's obvious it has, it's a loaded term. So when you say gangs, it's like, oh, you're talking about, killers from the hood. And that's
right.
So when they say that it's the parallel you made with internationally terrorist. Perfect. Exactly. In fact, they were talking in Congress yesterday about using a terrorist designation against Cherizier. And again, I really just want to stress there's not a shred of evidence for these massacres that he is alleged to have carried out. And, which I expose in detail in the documentary. And even in the State Department reports on him, they say alleged. They qualify it as alleged. So the State Department is even saying that, like, oh, we don't know it's true, but of course that doesn't matter. It's all just whatever the geopolitical agenda. Then they they tailor the narrative. They tailor the narrative to their agenda. I think another parallel that's important and makes a lot of sense for Americans is the Black Panthers. Community organizations that were basically screwed by the government and representing their neighborhoods and trying to improve the conditions, and not only had weapons, but also helped the people in their neighborhoods. And that's why they became such a threat to the United States. And so, I don't need to tell you guys, but it's like there's an extremely strong parallel. We show in the documentary the social programs they have. feeding people, in particular children, which is obviously was a huge part of the Black Panthers. Education, clean water, these kinds of things, the basic things that the state should provide, but in our capitalist hellhole doesn't, and in Haiti certainly doesn't. And so, like, when you go into Jimmy Cherizier's neighborhood, his neighborhood is called Delma 6, and he basically, his territory, if we can call it that, is 3 neighborhoods: Delma 2, Delma 4, and Delma 6. It is completely different when you cross into that neighborhood. Around Port-au-Prince, insecurity, poverty everywhere, burning trash everywhere, people looking over their shoulder every which way. Just it is chaotic. And, you can be robbed or whatever at any moment. You go into Jimmy Cherizier Barbecue's neighborhood, it actually reminded me of going into Cuba, because it's like there's poverty, but it's not this same level of insecurity. Like, the streets are clean. They have it. You'll see in the documentary, they have a dude who every day goes and sweeps the streets, and it's clean, and they give him a little something so he can, live on that. And people are contributing, and there's like real sense of community. And these people, that neighborhood, those neighborhoods, Lower Delma, get attacked by the police and by allied, essentially paramilitaries, armed groups that are on the payroll of oligarchs who are tied to the U.S. It's like, it's like Al Qaeda and ISIS, that it's like the U.S. says those guys are so bad, but they're really tools of the U.S. And so that exists in Haiti too. There's a group called the JPEP, and then the other one is 400 Maozo. Those guys are total enemies of the G9. They attack them in league with the police. Just last night, I got word from a source on the ground in Haiti, in Delma 6, who said police sniper shot a combatant in the head, one of the G9 soldiers, you could call him. Shot him in the head. He poked his head over a wall, took a bullet in the forehead, killed him. And then they also killed an elderly shopkeeper. So, and in our documentary, you see basically a massacre that was committed in that neighborhood, in Delma 6, where the police with paramilitaries came in with a bulldozer and destroyed 60 homes, set a bunch of them on fire, looted them. And now all those people are just living in the streets, living in shelters. And if you saw in the trailer, there's an old guy he's blind, and he says, "It's thanks to barbecue that I'm alive." Yeah. He's one of them. And there's a bunch of people like that. And none of those NED-funded human rights groups or any of those frauds ever go talk to those people. And, I confront them on that in the documentary. So,
you're like one of the few people I see in anti-imperialist media that's talking to them. There's nobody else doing this, and I don't say that to boast, but I say that just because I'm like, that's why I did it, because I saw there was no one else doing it except Kim. And Kim they're totally devoted to Haiti Liberté, and I love those guys to death. They're not of our generation where they're doing live streams and tweeting, and you know what I mean? So for those guys, Kim, and it's mostly actually Haitians who run Haiti Liberté. It's just Kim is the native English speaker, so he's the one, who does the hits he does media appearances. But it's not like we get accused a lot of oh, you're just 2 white guys who are going down there in Haiti and doing this and that and making money. And it's man, we're straight up, we're Haitian led. Haiti Liberté is Haitian led, and I'm basically working with Haiti Liberté. So it's not like that at all. And so I'm trying to kind of take, my skills, filming, research, editing, writing, all that stuff, whatever I can do to shed light on this thing. Because if you watch the piece I just did for Mint Press, maybe you want to show that clip, and I can explain it. The one I tweeted at the it is
the beginning of the thread.
I don't know. This is the next part I want to move it to.
Okay.
I want to ask you one last part. I think this is what you're talking about, right? This tweet right here, because the next part I want to ask you before we get you out of here is the U.S. This is the one you're talking about. This one right here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Because that was the next part I'll get into.
Oh yeah, I saw that one too.
I want to ask you about the United States plan in response to this Haitian uprising and this guy who's liberating people in this community. because you're reporting that the United States is preparing an imminent military intervention. So let me adjust the audio. I'll play. It's a very short clip, so I'm gonna play the short clip, and then I'll let you take that on, and then we get you out here, Dan. So let me go.
The U.S. has two choices. They either reinforce the police now, probably using military trainers, so send a company of special forces trainers to teach the police and set up an anti-gang task force, or send 25,000 troops at some indeterminate but imminent period in the future.
That looks so like like if you watch that without sound, you may think that's a sketch. You may think that guy is in like a costume or something. It's so like you rehearse this in a CIA office kind of shit. Like this is so. It almost looked like he's in disguise. Like, is this?
Dude, don't he look does he look like an Al Pacino style gangster? Right?
Yeah,
and what he's saying is gangster too. We like, maybe we should send some people, send some boys in, take care of them. How about we send some boys in Haiti? Why don't you guys? The way he's talking about this, God, I told you, I see these imperialists as gangsters. No one got a body count like the Queen. No, the mafia don't have a body count like Joe Biden. These people are gangsters. But sorry, Dan.
What is the claim? Like, what are they saying these gangs are doing? What is the need for military? Like, the need is because the people are uprising, so they want to put the people down. They don't want to have another successful Haiti of overthrowing people. Go ahead, Roman. It looks like you wanted to.
No. That was basically what I was saying. Like, and they only call them gangs because they are organized, because they are strategized. Because if they wasn't, they wouldn't be relevant. They wouldn't even be
mobs.
Yeah, they'd just be regular mobs, or some rioters or whatever the fuck. But they only are a threat because they are organized, and they probably do have some people on the inside with ears, you know what I'm saying, telling them what's going on. And they might have some plans to actually make some strong moves in the future. And this is why they have to hurry up and get the PR on their side and be like, oh well, we're just taking care of these thugs, because they already talking about them like they're thugs instead of you know what I'm saying, liberators. You know, because that's what they actually are, and we shouldn't even be over. We shouldn't even be over there.
You see how
go ahead. They're targeting them because they kind of see like, okay, it's kind of bubbling over here in Haiti. The people is itching. All they need is that leader, is that like sort of head, that person that's speaking, that person that's doing in the community, that's going to galvanize more people out of control. Well, we can't control this anymore. And it sounds like that's what's happened. I'll pass it back to you, Dan, if you wanted to chime in on any part of. We kind of threw things at you, but any part you want to chime in.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I like the roundtable discussion style, just, free form. Yeah, I mean, there's, the U.S. is basically just like, oh, these are, just economic and political interests fueling these protests. But, they don't want to address that what actually sparked this current round of protests, of mass protests, was the International Monetary Fund imposing fuel price hikes. So overnight, gas doubled in price, more than doubled in price in Haiti. And so people can't live like that. People are already, in extreme poverty. It's the worst poverty in the Western hemisphere. And then suddenly, a gallon of fuel that you need to put, your kid on the bus to school or to get to work, to go, hawk whatever you got on the street corner so you can feed your family, that's suddenly impossible. So they don't give people any choice. So it's, created this big old uprising among the masses, and it's been, kind of bubbling for a while. Haiti, there are regular protests in Haiti, and whatever kind of, the so-called international community, the imperial kind of, powers due to Haiti, with most recently the IMF gas price hikes, that just, turns the fuel up. So it's like they turn the fuel up like on the stove, and then they want to keep the lid on, but eventually the lid is going to pop off.
Right.
So they got to, you know what I mean? So then what are they going to do? They got to come in with real force. And so that's what they're trying to do. And so, I mean, the thing is, the ones that you could actually call gangs, I mean, I just try to avoid the term. We do use it in the documentary a little bit, but since we recorded it and wrote everything, I've started to think I just don't even want to use it at all because it's such a loaded term. But, you know, the ones that you could actually call gangs that are real criminals, those are the ones that are tools of the oligarchs that are tied to the U.S. And those are the ones that are fighting the G9.
Classic technique.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like the difference between like Hezbollah and like ISIS or you know what I mean? Where it's like, if you don't know the difference, you're like, I don't know, these are just like some like Islamic, you know, terrorist gunmen. They all look the same, but like they are bitter enemies and totally geopolitically opposites, despite, you know, their kind of aesthetic similarities. And so it's a similar thing in Haiti, where the G9 is like, we're trying to improve the condition, where like this other dude is just taking money from some oligarch, and he's got like a bunch of people around him in his neighborhood who he pays to do the dirty work for him. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, they single out the people that's helping the community and project them as the enemy, while the people who really is terrorizing the community, they do the opposite. And this, you can see that as clear as day with the Black Panthers. They terrorized them, but in Oakland, they had plenty of gangs they could have went after.
Exactly. 100%.
Plenty gangs that's terrorizing, and then they want to pretend like Black Panthers are those people that's terrorizing when they're helping the community. So it's the same exact tactic. The thing about the U.S. empire, they don't have any other they don't have any other like play. It's the same. It's the same sort of play, but the problem is it keeps working with a lot of people. But with this type of reporting, with the internet in particular, and with people like us trying to cover in these things, I'm hoping that we kind of can break this this hole of understanding of propaganda. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah. So I mean, to get into kind of what that shady looking dude, Dan Foote is his name, who I mean, it's like straight up mafia. He's like, look, you got two choice, you know, it's like make him an offer he can't refuse. You know, it's like that's the real gangster right there. You know, we found him and he's right out front of the White House.
Just casually talking about mass death. Let's send some soldiers in to
wait, this wasn't like a news conference. This was like just him talking, you interviewing him, or is that what?
I'll break it down. So Dan Foote, he's a career State Department guy. His role has been to go and like train, you know, proxies, police, military, whatever proxies, wherever the U.S. is involved. Afghanistan, Iraq, Colombia, Haiti, most recently. He was in Haiti years ago, and then after the assassination of President Jovenel Moise in July 2021, he was sent in by the Biden administration to go like beef up the police forces, which are pretty weak in Haiti. And so with the total goal of putting down this whole uprising, and you know, in Haiti's largest daily newspaper, he called for Barbecue, you know, the revolutionary guy, to be hunted down. And so he resigned in September 2021, citing the the deportation of all those Haitian asylum seekers. You guys remember that were on the border and they got deported, and it was this whole like, right,
with the horses and stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly.
So the Biden administration is under all this heat, and he sees this opportunity to be like, oh, I'm gonna make myself look like the anti-Biden guy, kind of like how they did with Trump. I'm gonna be the anti-Trump guy, you know, so I'm gonna like look better. And so he did the same thing with Biden. So he's like, he resigns and says, I'm resigning because of the deportations of those Haitian asylum seekers, blah, blah, blah. And he gets hailed in like Western media, does all these interviews, and, you know, this guy's a hero and this policy's got to change. And he's like, the U.S. is meddling in there because the U.S. is supporting Ariel Henry. Ariel Henry basically was appointed by the U.S. in the wake of the assassination. He basically was involved in the assassination. He was like on the phone with the guy who pulled the trigger right before and right after. And so he is universally reviled in Haiti. And all those protests right now are calling on him to step down. So the U.S., the State Department, Dan Foote know that Haitians reject Ariel Henry. He is a total puppet of the U.S. and he's a criminal. And so his whole thing is like, look, if we want to put down this whole revolutionary movement and get Haiti back under our control, we need someone else in there who's not like reviled universally. And because of the strong anti-interventionist sentiment among Haitians, among the masses, we got to get someone in there who's like, got a cleaner kind of figure. So what the U.S. is doing, they want to push Ariel Henry out, discard him, and put in the opposition that is just as dirty and just as elite and hates the masses and wants to maintain the status quo of poverty and incredible profits for, in their factories that they, in their sweatshops that they ship products to the U.S. So they have an alternative political coalition called the Montana Group. And I go into it in the Mint Press piece. The Montana Group is a bunch of like civil society, NGO types, and I mean, they were here in Congress yesterday. They're pushing it really hard. Congress wants it. And basically, Dan Foote, who we saw, his whole thing is, look, what you do is get the Montana Group in. That gives like an image that it's Haitian led. And then the Haitians will accept it and say, oh, this isn't U.S. meddling because, like, instead of Uncle Sam now has some finger puppets, and the Haitians will look at them. And then that's someone we can work with to train basically a hit squad inside the Haitian National Police, which is what he calls for there. And the hit squad will go in and take out Barbecue and these, like, gang leaders and put down the revolution. And he's like, if Biden doesn't do that, do it the kind of like smart Obama style proxy war way that Tony Blinken laid out when he was about to enter the government, when he was about to, the Biden administration was about to start. Then if they don't do it the like smarter clandestine way, then you're just going to have to go in with 25,000 U.S. troops and just do it dirty like Bush style. Going with a full-on invasion, and but they're like, we don't want to do it that way. We prefer to do it with the the small footprint. And so that's his whole thing, is like he's like the enlightened anti-Biden diplomat who is going to do it the small footprint way with special ops, and that's like the major push in Congress. And he's just posing as this anti-Biden guy, using the whole Haitian deportations thing as like a way to make himself look better. But, he's just totally a part of the system. That's the whole game right now that's happening with U.S. regard to Haiti. And then the other part is where the Global Fragility Act comes in, what I talked about earlier on. The Global Fragility Act relies on the Montana Group because they're like, we need to get the Global Fragility Act, which is now this major policy shift to the neo-colonies around the world, with Haiti as the first, as the test case, is it relies on the Montana Group as like the friendly face, because it's all pumping in USAID and State Department money with, the Pentagon kind of operating, under the surface. So people don't know about it much. Just all of a sudden, oh, some guy, Barbecue's dead or whatever. These guys are dead. And, that's how they want to get their hands back on Haiti and put down this whole uprising.
Just terrible.
There was a lot of great information, and I'm glad that you came on to explain that. I appreciate you coming on, Dan. I want to get you out of here. What any last things you want to plug, promote? Any last thoughts that you have before we get you out of here, Dan?
No, just thank you guys a lot for having me on, and just keep your eyes on Haiti. It's what you said at the beginning, Nick, that Ukraine is obviously dominating the news, and for good reason, and we need to pay attention there. But obviously, it's not the only place. So the whole idea that the U.S. doesn't have the appetite for this war or that war, well, I guess we could put that to bed. So just keep an eye on Haiti too, and I'll have my documentary out in a couple weeks. Happy to come back on then. You guys can have Kim on, whatever's good. I'm
yeah,
happy to
that'll
come
be
on.
nice to have both be back. That was actually one of the comment questions was like, when is it coming out? So you said a couple weeks it should be
Yeah,
out.
we're like in the final stages of production right now. I mean, we're trying to premiere at least the first. There's 3 episodes. We're trying to premiere the first episode after the Assange rally here in DC next weekend.
That will miss you, right? That's gonna be fire.
Yeah, everybody's gonna be there. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm hoping to get at least the first episode out so people can see it then. Maybe we can pull off the second episode. So it's just being like a little indie team, a 2-man team. It's hard to like have like really hard dates because we're just
we definitely gonna have you on when that release or whenever you need anyone to help highlight Haitian coverage in Haiti. I love having the conversation with people that do investigative reporting, especially on anti-imperialism. So you always got an invite here. Thank you for joining us, Dan. Any last thoughts before we send you off?
It's all good. Just thank you guys a lot and appreciate it. Look forward to talking again.
This was great. Thanks, Dan.
Thank you for coming.
Right. We'll pop you out now. Thank you, Dan. This is what, and I was talking to CJ. I was playing to JB as well because JB has been killing it on foreign policy lately. It takes a long time, and this is why I love having this platform because you see Dan Cohen come on. We have people from the Grayzone come on, Maury Kimberly and the Black Agenda Report people come on. They helping me sharpen my tools. Like I'm able to go on the Hill and I'm able to destroy these neocons because we in this community we share and we help educate each other. Like the age of anti-intellectualism on the left is done. The day where we just have leftists just blindly repeat state talking without any investigation into it, that's over. That will RB is here to tell you guys. That time is done. So what we try to do on the channel, have people like Dan Cohen on, have people like Max Blumenthal, Aaron Mate, and Mark Kimberly, have all these heavy anti-imperialist journalists on because they teach me stuff and they will help you guys be more equipped to debunk the narrative that you see from mainstream media. So that's why I love having the conversations. You got to see a lot more of these, and you guys. This is why I've been trying to push on the channel. So, great segment with Dan. CJ, are we doing the Jamaal?
Yeah, let's do the Jamaal segment because that's the thumbnail. Yeah. We have to do it at least.
Yeah, we can do that segment, and I have to go, but I can stick.
Yeah, we'll do this segment, and then we'll see how it goes. I don't know if I'm able to stay, but we'll see how long the segment goes. But I have it already queued up, so let me share my screen. This is why Rome wanted to join to talk about this.
Let me say this.
Go ahead.
I gotta start the story with this. We need to see more of the progressive frauds called out for the support of the Ukraine proxy war. Because that they know they are wrong. Because think about all the Republicans that supported and did not support the Ukraine war. I'm talking about the Marjorie Taylor Greenes and Max Gaetz and the Lindsey Grahams and the Ted Cruz. They all came up with tweets. They came up with press conferences. I still remember Lindsey Graham. He literally released like a video, this is why we need to send more money to Ukraine. So you guys understand that Republicans are questioned on their war votes. But somehow these progressive cowards are allowed to fund Nazis in Ukraine, and they are not even asked or questioned about it. And they're not even expected to give a response to people explaining why they're funding this proxy war. So I just want to start with that. We can get the video. Because now we see someone that
that's a good like to make sure we're on the right path with this conversation, because this is really, I mean, the story is about Jamaal Bowman, but the story, Nick and Ro, is also about this progressive strategy and how terrible it is. So that's what this is also about. But let's play. Did you have Rome? Did you have any like introductory thoughts before I play the video, like Nick and I had?
Man, this nigga hair shiny as hell. But no, I seen this video, but man, all I'm gonna say is I hate how all these politicians, how they still come out as a good guy, you know what I'm saying? Like this dude losing his mind. He's like, oh well, this is America, you get free speech. Bitch, that ain't what we talking about.
So you're getting to his weak response. So let's play. Let's see It's a minute and 10 seconds. Yeah, let's play. Let's see how far we get. Here we go.
Do more on climate. We could do more on lowering prescription drug costs. We could do more on gun control. We could do more with regards to black agenda. We can do more.
Congressman, you're a hypocrite because you are funding neo-Nazis in Ukraine. They are wearing the Black Sun symbol, the same symbol that the Buffalo shooter used, the same symbol that the person who almost killed the vice president in Argentina used.
You
say
so
you
much.
want to advance the black cause, but you are funding the same people who kill in the name of white supremacy.
This is the foundation. This is the foundation of our democracy, freedom of speech.
You choose to fund Nazis.
Stick around and I will have a conversation with you right after the end. We're gonna get to the conclusion. Stick around. I promise. I got you.
What a fucking clown.
Yeah, look at this piece of shit right here. Hakeem Jeffries, or whatever the fuck his name is. Yeah, he's just looking like, I'm glad he didn't say my fucking name. That's the look he has on his face. Like, I'm glad it's not me. Let me let it finish out.
I want to stop.
There's 13 seconds.
Sorry, no, let's play.
Yeah, 13. It might be nothing. Let's see.
The foundation of our democracy is freedom of speech. Freedom of speech. So we appreciate that. I will talk to you again.
I don't want any.
Does he think? Go ahead, Ron. Go ahead, Nick.
I won't get wrong here, but I don't want any of y'all to think that he handled this well, because what Jamaal Bowman did is standard Democratic propaganda. Like, look at Barack Obama. When people interrupted Barack Obama's speech, he said the same thing. This is a script. Oh, this is why America's so great. We got the freedom of speech here. I'm not going to answer a question, but I'm going to talk about how great every politician does that. This shows that Jamaal Bowman is trained like a good little Democrat. Sorry, Ron. I want to be.
Yeah, you basically just said what I was saying. Because he didn't anything to say, but you can see it on his face when he finally thought of his answer, what he was going to say. Then he get a little smile on his face, like, oh, I know how to come out on top. And I just want to say, if any of you motherfuckers that was at that meeting with Jamaal Bowman and clapped after he said that bullshit, you are a fucking idiot. And just from sitting in the same room as Jamaal Bowman and not fucking socking on him, you are a fucking traitor to the black community. And you know what? this dude, what was he saying before? We can do more. We need to do more.
Yeah, he was saying that, yeah.
Change. Nigga, shut your bald head ass up.
And this motherfucker talking about gun control. For one, no, nigga. Secondly, how you gonna talk about gun control while you sending weapons to Nazis?
I swear.
So this motherfucker want to disarm the black community, but you want to arm Nazis more. It's plain. I hear you. We got free speech. I'm gonna talk to you later. No, he calling you out.
I'm gonna talk to you later.
Right now, nigga. Right now. No talking later. We're not gonna meet up and huddle so you can hide. No, we're doing this right now, so you are on camera in front of people. You snaky motherfucker. You're not gonna. And then the guy is nice enough to take him up on the suggestion. I'm sure you may have the receipts. He take him on the suggestion, and then they talk later. And Jamaal Bowman like, yeah, I'm about that Ukraine shit, bro. Just it is what it is. Like, nigga, realize how bad he would have looked if he was on that stage. Like, yeah, I know you made a lot of good points about me arming Nazis, but it is what it is. This is what we do. That's why he told him to save it for later.
When he said the Buffalo shooter, I'm glad he made it relatable. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people wearing the same patches as the Buffalo shooter. Something that has happened here recently. You can't deny, you know what I'm saying? You can't rebuttal reality, man. And all, like, he had not, even if I was in that fucking type of situation, I wouldn't even have nothing to say, because you can't rebuttal truth, but you can throw bullshit over it and call America. Oh yeah, I'm glad people are yelling at me. I'm glad. Yes, this is what I love.
This is democracy. This is what I love.
I'm not looking like an asshole right now. This is America. Freedom, baby.
CJ, do you mind if I share this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because this is the important part. I'll show you guys why Jamaal Bowman is dishonest there. He did not handle this well. He handled it the same way George W. Bush and Barack Obama did. He said he's going to talk to him later. This is the guy.
Yeah, he follows us. We follow.
Yeah.
If we're not following, we're going to follow him. But
I followed him.
We've interacted with him.
We've
interacted with him a lot. Yeah, we interacted with him a lot.
But he called him out, and then he said, this guy asked him, did he have a conversation with you afterwards? And look at the response here. Yes, he did. On the issue of Ukraine, he said, first of all, you're not my constituent. The same shit AOC said. Do you guys see this, the pattern here? When someone criticizes, oh, you for one, you're not my constituent. Nigga, why are you taking our money then? If someone would have sent you a donation, I bet you take it. You're not gonna be like, oh well, technically you said a donation and you're from Illinois. No, you're gonna take that donation. So shut up.
That doesn't even make no sense. That doesn't even make no sense.
You're a member of Congress, motherfucker. You're not a Congress is a national institution. You vote on national policies. So whenever politicians say this is a mission of defeat. Mm-hmm. And the progressives have been saying it so often, it's now part of the script. You guys see what's going on here, and why RBN? We're the only people willing to call these people out. But
so let me
continue.
Go ahead.
I passed it to you. I interrupted that. My bad. I'm gonna finish statement. I passed to you, CJ. And this is what he said. But even if you were, you don't have to yell about it. Immediately go to tone policing. He funding Nazis, but he wanted to tone police Jose. Okay. Anyway, let me continue. You could have pulled me to the side and we could have talked. You know why he didn't do that? Because Jose asked him, well, what are we going to do about the Nazi issue? And he said, we're going to keep doing what we're doing on the work that we're doing. Imagine how bad this bald-headed imperialist motherfucker would have looked if he said that on stage. Do you guys understand why we don't fall for that? Oh, let's talk. Let's pull you to the side. He pulled you to the side so he can tell you some bullshit.
Right. So he don't want his bullshit to be on Front Street. I'm just saying he doesn't want his bullshit to be on Front Street so everybody can be like, you're full of shit. So he wants to just do it privately. Yeah. So he can say, what? I don't recall that. What? I talked to who? I said that? No, I didn't never say that. They don't want anything on record.
He told another lie talking about you could have pulled me to the side. No, I couldn't have. Your bodyguards would have been on my mother.
Yes.
If I would have came to you asking about, even if I would have came to you like, hey, you know what I'm saying? I just want to talk to you. Even if I got a chance to talk to you on the side, as soon as I would have mentioned Ukraine, you would have did that little Secret Service would have been up my asshole. So don't give me that. You could have pulled me to the side. We could have talked like gentlemen. No, motherfucker, this is life or death for a lot of people, and you don't know who are you talking to, right? So he's saying that he don't work for him. You're not on my district, whatever the fuck, nigga. You can be, you know what I'm saying, funding the wars that's killing this motherfucker's family members or whatever. You don't know who the fuck you talking to, man. I wish Jose would have sucked the shit out of him.
But let me explain how I believe this works. When people say this, you're not my constituent. What does that have to do with anybody in the United States who pays taxes? We can critique anyone who is spending our taxes. What happens is, and you just are elected locally by these people to put you in a national organization for you to be critiqued by everybody. The people you're talking about, your constituent, is just the ones who put you in. That doesn't mean you don't answer to everybody. That's not what that means at all. This is a national organization. You answer to all and every single taxpayer. That's how it works, Jamaal. You're a teacher, you don't know that. Go ahead.
No, just real quick, I'll pass to you today. You just now triggered this. Like, he unironically did the same thing Joe Manchin did, guys. You realize that? Mm-hmm. So whenever Joe Manchin is asked, why do you take the Democrat progressive agenda? He says, well, I'm not worried about you guys. I'm worried about my constituents in West Virginia. In West Virginia, they're extremely conservative. They don't want me to vote for you guys, large spending. So he uses the shield of his constituents to say, this is why we're denying you. Because I got people in my constituents that is literally what Jamaal Bowman is doing. You're not my constituents, so I'm going to go against you. You can't question me on it. It's literally the same thing that we were supposed to defeat by taking over the Democratic Party. You guys see how it was counterproductive? This is why we say hard no on any other option than third party, because he became the guy we supposed to defeat. He's literally the new Jim Clyburn.
So like overnight, overnight, he became that.
It's like CJ,
it's disgusting. But yeah, I just have a couple of other things that just kind of point to who Jamaal Bowman is. This first tweet is a funny one. I wanted to start out funny because I like the tweet that Nick sent on this. Like Nick said, liberals and progressive Democrats are just unserious, and this was a point. Sending nothing but love to Nina Long's way. This is what our taxpayer dollars is doing. So he can shoot his shot at beautiful Nia Long. Now let's look. You should see the response.
Yo, I'm glad you
sir. Sir, Jackson, Mississippi has polluted water. He's an elected official. Remember, so this is the part where everybody can criticize you. You're a national figure who was elected by these local people to put you in office. Those are just the people who say, hey, yeah, this is the guy that all of us can critique from our area. That's all this means. But that's a great point here. Sir, Jackson, Mississippi has polluted water from Terrain Walker. Shout out to Ray. We follow each other. Brother, chill. You look thirsty. Sir, don't pay you to be out here simping financial Black Americans. Got that? I won't read all of that. Stop cupcaking, playa. That's Tariq. This is why the Democratic Party is at its all-time low. Why would a U.S. representative be talking about a gossip tabloid rag babble on social media? This is something embarrassing and tacky, my God.
That's why I said Jamaal Bowman is deeply unserious. So he's not going to talk about why he's funding Ukraine. You got to pull him to this. You got to pull that motherfucker for a side to that. But he will loudly tweet out his support of Nia Long. You guys see the priorities here? We're gonna be all right.
We winning.
I don't give a fuck about that war shit. You guys talking about water and Jackson? I don't give a fuck, man. I'm on BET tonight. Nigga, I'm gonna watch BET. Nigga, I don't give a fuck about none of that
I'm
shit.
shooting my shot at Nia Long. Nia Long, man. Get out of here, man. Come on, man.
Nigga, I'm gonna get her like my tweet, bro. This is. I'm the other day, nigga. Y'all over here talking about y'all calling water, nigga. I'm out here balling. I'm balling, nigga. What are you thinking?
I don't know, but let me show you this other thing here. So I want to show you this article right here, because now let's get a little bit more serious sort of critique about Jamaal Bowman. So he's taking hardworking working class money. He's not doing anything with it, but sending it to the Ukraine. He's telling people in secret conversations that, hey, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing. That kind of fucking dumbass logic, right? But let's see this article here about Jamaal Bowman. Jamaal Bowman, World Socialist website. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and the DSA long record of military support for Israel. Now, this is the same critique I have for Marianne Williamson and a lot of this DSA type. And Nick, I noticed there's a lot of selling out. Like selling out Palestinians is almost like the first thing that these progressives are willing to sort of jump off of their progressive stance. It's like, oh, Israel, okay, yeah, I can go ahead and get with that right away. And AOC, DSA, go ahead.
Because Palestinians are their constituents, CJ. Okay, you think I'm gonna stand up for ethnic genocide? There's an ocean over there. Okay, you ever heard of the Atlantic Ocean? There's an Atlantic Ocean between those people and my constituents. You think I give a fuck about that?
That's exactly the point of view they have. It's cynical, but that's how they think.
Go ahead, CJ. That's really how they think. I don't get it, but go ahead, CJ.
All right, let me just read a little bit on it. This is by Eric London. I'm finding out that Eric London is one of the better writers on there. I find a lot of his article. He wrote it on my birthday, December 8th. Wow, didn't know that. Just noticed that. But last week's decision by the DSA, National Political Committee, not to expel New York Democratic Congressman, DSA member Jamaal Bowman does not mark a break from DSA tradition. On the contrary, it marks a continuation of the organization's long history of support for U.S. imperialism's military aid to Israel. Now, let me continue right here where they talk about more about Bowman. For over 50 years, the DSA and its predecessor organization, the Democratic Socialist Organization Committee, have served as a faction of the capitalist foreign policy establishment, providing pseudo-humanitarian justification for American imperialism's manifestation abroad, with particular support for Israel's military funding. Here is Bowman. Bowman's vote to support billions in funding for the Israel military, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez vote of present, as well as Bowman's participation in a propaganda visit to boost the right-wing government of Prime Minister Bennett, are the outgrowth of its history. So this article kind of ties in both. They're talking about Bowman and AOC, but really they're using them more as a way to talk about the larger story of how this is what DSA has been doing for a long time. Selling out, capitulating to sort of like the military machine, the industrial complex side of the Democratic Party, just so they can stay at the kids' table. They can stay in the room. I'll pass to you, Nick, Rome. Any thoughts? I know you know about this vote. This is an old story, but just another thing that says that, like, why are we still even calling this guy progressive?
I had a conversation. We had the Palestinian Community Network on during the Anti-Imperialist Summit, and it's just super hard to schedule them because time schedules the difference. But I talked to the guy we had on the show before, and that's why I remember we were talking before, and we were talking about, can you be a Zionist and also be anti-imperialist? And then that's why my response to you was very simple. Palestinians would say, hell no. In the same way as, imagine someone asked us, like, can you say you are anti-white supremacy or against white supremacy but supporting funding the police more? Our response would be like, hell no.
Hell no.
So what Marianne Williamson and what these elected progressives don't realize is I am doing what I am asking you guys to do for us to our Palestinian brothers and sisters, because there's a mutual level of respect there. I don't live in Palestine. I am not a victim of Israeli war crimes. So I listen to them. So when you talk to Palestinians and Palestinian leftists, this is a red line. Like, not supporting BDS. I talked to the Palestinian Community Network dude offline. Bro, he went on this rant, bashing the shit out of the internal Marianne. He's like, bro, that's like, think about like some anti, like, imagine if you have politicians that were like, yeah, I don't support gay rights. That shit's not cool. I don't fuck with that shit. And then you had a professional managerial class that's like, oh no, man, that's a small disagreement. Why are you guys blowing up? Gay people will be like, are you guys out of your mind? That's how Palestinians feel, guys. Do you guys understand that? When I talk to many Palestinian leftists in my community that look at the squad, Bernie Sanders, and them selling out on Israel-Palestine, this is as big of a treason as you can commit. As if, imagine white leftists, if AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, they all just one day woke up like, you know what, we don't support Medicare for all no more. We're not about that. You guys would turn on them real quick. But they can get the Palestinian issue wrong. They can get black issues wrong. And then white leftists in the professional managerial class is like, oh my God, why are you guys being so divisive? Why are you guys pointing out our small differences? They are not small differences. Arming Nazis in promoting World War III and hostilities against Russia and China is not a small difference. Arming and supporting the apartheid state of Israel is not a small difference, and our being is done pretending otherwise. So
that's great to kind of bring this segment to an end. And I want to close out the segment with, of course, Emma and Sam shielding for Jamaal Bowman in these terrible votes. This is very short clip. It's like 2 minutes and 18 seconds. They got in and got out on this one. So I'm sorry to put you through this, but two minutes and 15 seconds. So you gotta get my real reaction here. Let's see. Wait, it says here, let me give you the title. It says DSA members furious with Jamaal Bowman. And the caller calls in. So let's listen.
I want to say two things. First, briefly on the Bowman thing, it's stupid and dumb that DSA isn't re-endorsing him. And also, their statements.
Let me just, if you're not, just for context, when he's saying it's super and dumb for DSA not, I think they didn't endorse him because of his vote. So this person is saying it's stupid and dumb that you're not endorsing somebody even though he did this thing that's completely against what you say you're for. That's where we are on the left.
Statement sucks because J Street is not some pro-Israel lobby group, and saying that is like, I mean, like, do I love what J Street always does? No, but like, they are infinitely better than AIPAC.
Yes.
And I would rather people donate to J Street and politicians come talk to J Street than AIPAC, because like I'm sorry, but that's lazy and ignorant, and it's embarrassing, honestly, to be a part of. I love DSA. I'm proudly a member, but it's embarrassing that they put this out, honestly.
Yeah, I tend to think that it is a mistake because, you know, again, context matters. And in a different context where we had, 110 members of the Democratic caucus who were willing to hold Israel to account, as opposed to like 5 or something like that, or 4, then maybe you could raise the standard for, who can, for how aggressive people can be in terms of sanctioning Israel. But
Jesus,
I don't know if you understand what he's saying. I don't know if he basically is, I'm going to let it play more, but he's saying basically we have our progressive principles, but there's a time and a place to actually believe in them and execute them. And we have to, he's basically saying you have to be strategic. And he says, if there was more progressives to stand up against it, then I can see you standing up. But if you don't, you just need to capitulate with the imperialist core. Is that like, it's, go ahead.
So y'all think I be lying about these white leftists, bro. Y'all really think, bro, like this is really what they be really saying this shit out loud. Because I know all you guys don't follow their content. So when you guys hear us talk about the booty life, you guys like, yeah, you make good points, but I ain't saying that. Listen to these people. These are the people we're talking about. And we have not, and I'm gonna ask you, every time we watch a Sam Sears clip, I always ask this question, CJ, if you haven't noticed. Who ideology does this serve? Did this ideology serve the ruling class or the working class? Just keep that in mind. Who benefits from people thinking like this?
And let me finish the clip. A few more. Yeah, let's go.
Who can, for how aggressive people can be in terms of sanctioning Israel. But Bowman has been very strong on Palestinian rights. And for, there's
what the fuck?
Okay, let me let it play. Let me play it.
Keep playing.
I wanted to say something. So
reality in American politics, which is there is money and when you're coming from New York, there are voters who are a single issue voter on some of these things. And I don't know. I mean, I
don't know.
If they can find a candidate who is going to be stronger on these issues than Bowman and stronger on these issues across the board and can get elected in that district, okay. But
they can't.
But that's my feeling. But
yeah,
they can't, right?
No.
She wanted to stay out of it. You notice that? She wanted to stay out of it. She didn't really want to stay, and he was so uncomfortable right there. Because he's trying to hero worship on an issue he knows that is terrible. Like, he understands this is terrible, so he's trying not to critique the people he wants to have access to, even though he knows that this is a good point, that this is terrible what he did, and Emma don't want no part of it. But go ahead. I know we both wanted to kind of jump in when some of this ridiculousness he was saying. But go ahead.
2 minutes of majority report is like 30 minutes. That shit might as well be a fucking hour. Like, everything he said, I wanted to chime in. Like, I don't know. That, because you can tell he never gave us any thought of the progressive position on Palestine. Yeah, if you want, you can play it because it's very short. If you don't play
I do want to, because now we let it play all the way. Now we can stop and give our comment in the specific parts,
as opposed to like 5 or something like that, or 4. Then maybe you could raise the standard for who can for how aggressive people can be in terms of sanctioning Israel. But Bowman has been very strong on Palestinian rights.
This is where I want to stop it. Do you understand? Just think about the threshold that he crossed to be able to say, at the same time, he's funding Iron Domes, which is an offensive mechanism, not defensive, and at the same time say he's a strong progressive on Israel. You see how they're able to say completely opposite things and just still say he's a strong progressive. Your thoughts, Nick, or if you didn't, I can continue to clip and let me know where you want to stop it.
For one, citation needed. Sam Sears is here to say, hey, Palestinians, I know you may have concerns. Listen to me. I'm the professional managerial class. He's been good on Palestinian issues, okay? I know he doesn't support BDS. You know that red line I just explained to you? Like, guys, I know so many Palestinian electors just because I tweet about the issue a lot on Twitter. Not supporting BDS is like, that is the so minimum. Based on what I've seen. And if anyone there can reach out to me. I talked to many of these people. That is about as far as a red line you can get. And progressives just do it, and they just do it nonchalantly. And then Sam Sears say, he's strong on Palestinian issues. No, motherfucker, they're not.
The same thing with Marianne Williamson. I showed a tweet where she says, I do not support BDS, but I am a person of peace.
Not defensive. I'm sorry. I see a comment. Eric W. I explained this many times.
Explain it, please, real quickly again.
and I'll explain why it's not defensive. Imagine if you had someone in a mall that was stabbing people with a sword and a shield, killing the shit out of people, stabbing them, but he using the shield to keep people off of him while he killing people. You wouldn't call that shield a defensive weapon. He's a serial killer. That is the Iron Dome. The Iron Dome allows Israel to be more effective at their offense. So because of the Iron Dome, they don't have to worry about retaliation from Hamas, meaning they can ramp up their ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, which they have done, which is why Palestinian and human rights groups are against the Iron Dome because of the way Israel has used it. They use it like a shield, or even a riot shield. I used to play Call of Duty. You ever had a riot shield with the gun? Imagine you just had the riot shield and the gun, you're killing people. The riot shield is not a defensive weapon there. So I had to point that out, and hopefully that's just a learning lesson for Eric, because this is something that Zionists, props to you, Eric, because you said fair enough. Once again, I use that as a learning opportunity, because that is what Zionists use to justify. It's a trick. Because it seems they're like, it's just to deflect rockets. But they're deflecting rockets because Hamas is responding to your aggression. You understand?
Right.
I don't want to get too much long rant, because hopefully I at least explain that decently. But go ahead, CJ. We can.
No, that is a great point, and I like how you explain it. That's why I always step back and let you cover that. But so let's finish the clip again, and if there's any other comments, and we're going to close this out. I really got to go in a few minutes.
There's a certain reality in American politics, which is there is money, and when you're coming from New York, there are voters who are a single issue voter on some of these things, and I don't know. I mean,
he doesn't want to critique the guy and say, this is a terrible vote. But the thing is this: isn't he basically saying, if he's saying there's voters and there's this and the contingents and the Democratic, aren't you basically saying there is no policy that we're really not willing to roll over for in order to participate in electoralism? Because the only reason you have to sell out Palestinians is because you're trying to and we're saying this lazily. When I say electoralism, I mean the red-blue game specifically. Because you want to remain there, you want to remain in that place. I think I can leave it there. This is just terrible. We can wrap it here. Yeah. What you got going on, Nick? What you got going on this weekend?
I got quite a lot of clips, but I still got segments that I've released. So I'm still flowing the idea. I got some stories I haven't got to yet either, but we see. I'm gonna try and release some segments tomorrow. May have Saturday Night Live, but we see. Zoya and sorry, go ahead.
Zoya and they're gonna join when?
They join on Monday. We're gonna
do
that before. We're gonna do that. I think 1:30 Central Time. We're gonna do a panel on Monday.
Okay.
And I have a few more guests I'm working on. Like I got a lot of guests that I'm gonna bring through here. So a lot coming up. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. That's all I have.
Yeah. For me in October, I've decided for for the month of October, my two oldest birthdays are in October. So for the month of October, I'm gonna have like educational streams. So I'm gonna be doing a lot of the I am the revolution.
Yeah.
So you know, for example, I'm gonna be covering the overthrow of the Hawaiian queen and how that really just 3 businessmen and just came over and took over that state and said, hey, we taking over this. Talk about that. We're going to talk about, I think I haven't covered the CIA's Mockingbird. I forget the name of the thing they did, the operation they did. It was something Mockingbird, To Kill a Mockingbird or something like that.
I think this is interesting.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's not an accurate way to describe an Iron Dome, Nick. In effect, Iron Dome is the absolute funding for weapons, armors, military vehicles, and missiles for Israel to all out. Yeah, that's a good.
No, that's a great point. And Debo, man, Debo, I'm telling you, he was in the last stream. Debo here, man. Come back, Debo. We love every time you here. But this is a great point because he's saying the definition needs to be expanded and because it's like Iron Dome is just one of the things. Like the funding of all of that is contributing to that. That is a good point. Go ahead, Nick.
That's a well-received point. That's why I want to share it. Well-received.
Yeah. That is a great point.
Anything you have, and then we can.
Yeah, so just look for that. I'm doing I Am the Revolution most of this month, unless something really big. Other than that, I'll be trying to always come with some educational, revolutionary. Now, the other thing I'm going to cover, Ernesto Che. I think that might be the first one I do. I have that one already prepared. So we're going to cover his life. Probably hit up the Cuban Revolution in a small version. I still got to do what is communism. I still got to do part 2 of the Black Panthers. There's a lot of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, Q. Sorry, I just not remember. I knew I was forgetting one announcement. So Q is going to join on Tuesday with Carla Zah. He got like 12-hour time difference. We're working that out. But expect Q after the minute next week as well.
Where is he? Is he not in the States? Where is he then?
No, he's in Canada. We bring Carla Zah, and he's in Bali. It's like 12 hours away. I'm not too familiar, but
yeah, I'm not too familiar.
I've been working on that for a while. The time differences make it weird. Q's a very busy man. Q would be great to have for like what is the communism discussion. Just as Q's good. He's dope. He might join us. And also, anyway, I might talk to you off screen. Actually, I might talk to you off screen.
Okay, yeah. So what I'm gonna do is leave everybody with this. This weekend I don't think I'm gonna be on. I'll see if you and I are doing a stream on Monday, but remember this month I'm gonna be doing a lot of I Am Revolution. And Nick, you can join. It can still be the same. I'm just saying like the topics I want to focus on more like teaching educational kind of videos. I feel like I've been doing these electoral sort of in news story kind of videos.
I got a lot shit going on in October, so it'll be a slight.
Yeah, I want to.
You'll be a slightly modified schedule too, so.
No, I'm saying like I still want you to join if you're available. I still want you to join. I'm just saying it will be called the Revolution Podcast.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
I still want you to join, just like always, but it'll be different. So we'll leave you with this thank you video from JB. All right, thank you video from JB. Just thanking everybody that donated to the fundraiser. We've reached $4,000, $4,016. So this is JB's fundraiser. The goal is $5,000 for his housing. And this video kind of explains what's happening with him if you were just curious or you wanted to know before you actually donated some money. So here is JB speaking in his own words.
Hey, everybody. I just want to thank you all for taking the time to donate and share the fundraiser for my housing situation. This means a lot to me and my mother, who is, stressing and worried about this entire situation. And the fact that you are, trying to help keep me housed and my mother housed means so much. So right now we're at the halfway point, which it leaves me speechless just to know that so many people care so deeply about the situation with myself and my mother's. Unfortunately, our situation is not a rarity, and our situation is, you know, it's so widespread that there's so many people going through this just like I am. As somebody that's on a fixed income, it's nearly impossible to keep my head above water. Unfortunately, you know, this system is unsustainable. And so many of us are going through it, and it just shows how unsustainable this system really is. I want to thank my comrades at RBN, Nick, Rome, CJ, Sabi, and everybody who has either shared or everyone who has donated and people who just sent thoughtful energy my way. It means so much to me. You know, your compassion and empathy really shows that it's going to save us all, you know, and you give me more faith in humanity day after day. And I can't thank you enough. I just want to wish you all just like overwhelming peace and love. And I just want to thank every single one of you for all your support because it means the world to me. It just shows that you truly do believe in leaving the world better than you found it. And I just can't thank you enough. And yeah.